Yo, there's a lot going on with the police recently, and we're all aware of this for reasons that are understandable. Because once again, the police fail to do what they're actually supposed to do all the time. And so I feel like it's within my responsibility to continue to make people understand how horrendous most if not all of them constantly are. It's fucked up, man. I'm very interested to see what continues to play out, but like obviously it's a tragic situation. I would like to use my platform to just reiterate to people that it's clearly not like a shit happens argument. This is a it keeps happening argument, and like there's a problem with that. Let's do it. It's crime time, and this is gonna be a shock. But we're gonna watch a video about a chief of police being interrogated. Wonder why? A coincidence, really. Once again, this is crime time. I have a degree in criminology. We watch true crime, usually police interviews, because they're very interesting, the way the environment is manipulated, and because it's important for you guys to understand that not only police not on your side, they do a really good job of making sure you feel that they are inside of environments like this. I don't think this one is as brutal as some of the stuff we've watched, but once again, this usually rotates and involves around crime and other things. So if you're sensitive to horrific events around crime, you might not want to watch. Let's do it. I'm going to be making glass in RuneScape while we chill. I hope that's okay. It's a tedious thing to do, and I'm going to do it while I have time to kill.
We're going to show how incompetence and negligence can build up to a criminal level. And how our example's habit of letting things slide ends up sliding him right into court. On April 4th, 2018.
I'm calling this immediately. Not only will he not go to jail, despite most likely heavily abusing his position, he won't get fired, and he'll probably pay a very small fine in comparison to what he actually did.
James Hansey, police chief of Buckeye Lake, Ohio, was brought in for questioning by Internal Affairs. At first, it seems like a routine matter involving an accidental discharge in a private residence. But as the questioning continues, more and more examples of laziness and possible corruption are brought to light.
Let me go grab something right there.
It's a little warm right here than it is out there.
It is. It feels better in here.
What the fuck is he doing? Oh, jeez. Oh, darn. You need me for questioning?
Hansey is brought into the interrogation room, and as he waits, he rubs his hands together in what might be nervousness or an attempt to rid himself of the lingering cold from outside.
I mean, I'm going to probably say it's the cold, but let's not dip into the micro expression arguments that Explore With Us always makes. That's a fucking channel for sure. Are you sure there's not some absurd fucking scientific name that's completely made up for rubbing his hands by his chin?
Sorry, dude, I lost my cup somewhere. I think it's a generic cup. Hey, Joe, do you know Ted?
Yeah, I think I've met him before.
Yeah, sure.
Out to your office that day.
Yeah, I've met you in the past too.
All right, Ted. All right.
You don't want any water or anything?
All right, Jimmy. These are your garrity rights, okay? I can tell you're familiar with them, but if you want to read those over, and just good for you. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Oh, that's so good.
Was it?
While reading over the paperwork would be advisable for most people in this situation, in Hansey's case, it feels like he's trying to buy time.
No way.
By this point, he should know exactly what those papers say, as well as the meaning.
For people that don't know, by the way, I don't know if anybody even picked up on it, but they said garrity rights, not Miranda rights. That's because garrity rights are used for higher officials in the police force, sometimes with regular police as well. So it's like a different version for officers / like federal workers. I'm not sure exactly what the stipulations are and how it differs, but I just know that they're like meant for officers essentially.
4444.
You need 1258.
I appreciate you being here, Lawyer, man. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I kind of figured you guys were busier.
It never ends. It doesn't. It never ends. It never stops.
I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I know there's not an ad playing. I'm just gonna let the video play out while I go to the bathroom really bad. So, excuse me.
All right, Jimmy. I guess first let's just start off with, do you have any questions right off the top of your head that you want to ask?
She gave me a paper yesterday that said something about public records, village property, inaccurate reports. I forget what the other one was.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that stuff, about the inaccurate reports to City Council? We'll get to those, I'll tell you. I'll try to go chronologically, that maybe makes more sense to us and to you then. But just tell me about what happened during the accidental shooting. Obviously, I've gotten stories, a couple of different, people told me, but, you're the guy that accidentally discharged a weapon, so I can't wait to hear from you, man.
Jeff and Megan and I were on our way back from Lancaster. We had ate at B-Dubs. We were coming down 79 and we were in the area of Buckeye Beecher Village. And my telephone rang. It was from Darlene.
Oh, nice, bro.
Hofer. I've known the family since, I was a firefighter with her brother Terry forever.
Nobody
and
cares.
She's on the phone screaming, saying her aunt, she found her aunt in the middle of the road, and that two guys had broken into her aunt's house and held her at gunpoint. She was able to escape, but the gunman shot one guy. He was laying in the floor bleeding to death, and the gunman was still in the house. So we're right there between both entrances to Lee's Village, the main entrance and the second entrance.
Seems likely.
I tell Jeff, go there because it's right over here, M section. So as we're there, I call Steve Ritter. Literally, this is what we got to get down to the M section. Meet with us. As we pull up, I'm dialing the sheriff's office. I call the sheriff's office. Tell them exactly what's going on. They say, you want emergency traffic? Yes.
So you called him?
I called the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Why would he hear him?
We're standing there, we're just trying to decide what's going on, and she keeps saying, he's dying, he's in my house dying, he's in my house dying. She was very physically upset. Both of them were really upset. I had no belief to doubt them. I wasn't even thinking of being on technically light duty.
Right.
Had no gun with me. And with there someone possibly being in that house dying, you guys have done the same thing. You'd have went in. We had 3 people here, and we've been trained. I told Ritter, give me your handgun. Vermaiden went around the side of the trailer to see if there was a door on the back.
Trained, that's funny.
Go get your rifle, because we don't know what he's got. Give me your handgun. It's the same identical handgun that I've got. And we went in, cover 3. Vermaiden was
Yeah, we got
first
trained
one to the door,
for
right.
8 weeks. Half
Because
that
it's a
was
double wide.
shooting
Right before
gun.
the events that he is describing, Hansy had a finger amputated. In this situation,
What?
the most he should have been doing was desk duty. There were other people with the
Yeah.
proper training that could have gone in his place. He has not had nearly enough time to adjust to life without that finger, much less practicing how it would affect how he holds and uses a weapon. We'll learn more
It's kinda
about what
true.
happened next after a quick word from today's sponsor.
Get that bag, King, but not on my stream. This is what I gotta do. I gotta start making true crime like analyses, stuff like this. I need to just find a board of police interrogations to do my own stuff so I can just grab sponsors. You know what I mean? Why am I not doing this? I'm literally experienced in like analyzing police behavior. Like, why am I not doing this? Maybe someday.
Why? Went in and I went to the left and I held the whole back of the trailer. And the trailer is really dark. And the only lights that's on is their flashlights and a TV in the very back room. I'm standing here, low ready, left hand, and all of a sudden something flashed. I thought someone was coming up, and when I came up, I hit a corner and poof, running around, went on the floor.
Okay. Did you have your finger on the trigger or something when you went up?
I had, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was coming up to protect myself.
Right.
And I just hit that counter and it just, pow.
Okay.
Off, just simple as that. We cleared the house. No one was there. It was the TV and the door was cracked about that big. I talked to the woman and the son. Didn't know that she had an onset of dementia is what he told us. Told us the other day that she told him Trump was in her bedroom. I'd never been to that house before.
What?
I know her, but I only knew her from McDonald's, not personally talking to her or anything. I didn't know that she was having an issue.
Why McDonald's?
After everything was found out,
your bed, it's lovely.
UTI.
It's a great bed. I've seen a lot of
Urinary
beds.
tract infection forever and never told her kids.
It's probably the most fantastic bed I've ever
She'd
seen.
seen a police movie prior to going to bed that night. So, I checked the house to make sure everything was fine, that we didn't hurt the electric, didn't hurt the water. From her end, set her and her son down and said, listen, we had an accidental discharge.
Let me get this straight. Hold on.
Was here and there. Didn't know that she had an onset of dementia is what he told us.
Didn't know. Okay, didn't know. I thought he said he did know.
From her end, set her and her son down and said, listen, we had an accidental discharge. His exact words to me, a doctor's, if she's hallucinating or something like that, we need to get her to take care of her. Let's get her to the hospital. He said, no, she goes into the doctor's in the morning. I said, then you can come and get a copy of our report so your doctor can have that to use to see what kind of medicine to get it on. And he said that would be fine. Or I would have pink slipped her that night, but with her, he's like, I'm staying here. She's going to the doctor's in the morning. She argued a little bit with him. No, I'm not. Mom, yes, you are. You've got a doctor's appointment. And I told him, I said, Dave, you come and get a copy of this report. Or have your doctor, get something from your doctor, we'll fax a copy of the report over to see, show that she's hallucinating or something so she can get help. Okay. And we went back to the office. All three of us wrote up our statements, wrote up the use of force where I had the accidental discharge, and went from there. I called the mayor.
Yeah, I'm sure that was done really accurately.
Or a report at that time, because when I went over and talked
Well, so you see, the light fixture had a gun. And the way the light blinded me, I was in fear of my life. So basically, instead of evaluating the situation, I fired my weapon immediately. I'll take a Purple Heart right now. Thanks.
You didn't have one yet.
It was in the computer, yes.
Okay.
Jack from Macon should have faxed it to you. We had a CR number.
Right.
Yes, CR number, and the square CR number was filled out and everything.
Okay.
It hadn't been typed in yet, but it was put in the book, and it was handwritten out.
Okay, you said you notified dispatch, right?
Yes.
Okay, did Ritter also notify dispatch, or did he just come right to the scene with you guys and help clear the trailer?
I don't know if he also notified dispatch because we didn't have a walkie on him. I didn't have a walkie, neither did Jeff. I do know when I was standing there and she said 99 traffic, he got on the radio and asked her and said, but 458 99 traffic.
Okay. All right.
Purple Heart's
So we
not even
will
a
take
fucking
from there.
police
It's
thing.
going to
I
have
don't
you
know what
call
I'm
on
saying.
dispatch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Because Ritter marked dispatch too and said, hey, this is going on over here at the trailer park and everything else. So he actually marked it. So you guys get over there, you have your external discharge, talk to the people, everything's fine with them. Now, at some point, Hebron came over, right?
Yes.
Okay. Were they called to come over?
I don't know. I don't know that because, again, I didn't hear anything on walking. I don't know. Sometimes when we got something like that, they just drift over.
Right.
And we drift over to them.
Sure.
You know.
Kind of good mutual aid.
Yeah.
Was there any conversation about not telling them about the accidental discharge?
Yes, there was.
Okay, was that your call?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the rationale there?
I'm curious
Ritter
where
likes
this
to
ends
tell
up going.
things, and for the integrity of the case, integrity of the accidental shooting, Ritter, you don't have to go tell everybody that we had an accidental shooting. Let's get this investigated first. Let's get it looked at. Let's save the integrity of the case right here before anybody, it's 1,700 people know.
Sure.
And that was the only reason. There's no reason to hide anything. How can you hide an accidental discharge?
Makes it tough. Things go bang real loud.
Yeah,
Guys, he
and you got a
reminds me of
spent shell.
somebody.
We got the shell. I mean,
So far, his story is plausible, and the proper steps seem to have been taken,
Hold on.
unless there
I'm
is
getting a call from
evidence
my
that
mother.
contradicts his statement. He had no reason not to believe that there was potentially armed suspect in the trailer, which accounts for his finger being on the trigger too soon. And even the most coordinated of people sometimes clip themselves on furniture or other objects in unfamiliar locations, especially when adrenaline is high. If this was the only thing they had against him, it probably would have been wrapped up quickly without much trouble.
Okay.
yeah, I sure did. I told him. I mean, because he likes to tell. And there's some things that happens in-house just like here. You guys have things that happen in-house. You guys aren't supposed to tell anybody until things are looked at. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I called the mayor. I called the mayor 6 times and she never called me back. She called Ritter instead of calling my phone. She does that a lot. Just the other day, she's standing there, Ritter's phone goes off. Call from Peggy Wells. He's talking to her. I'm like, I walk up and say, why aren't you calling me? I'm the chief.
Right. That's true. Huh. So you guys got some communication barriers between you and the mayor, you would say?
From years, she's been on council for years, and yeah, she never liked the police department. She's actually picketed against the fire department. She don't like them. She had a big meeting with Randy Thorpe, and Billy was still there, and wanted to see about bringing them in and get rid of us. And Billy and them guys told him, you can't afford us.
Right.
But when she took over mayor, and she took me in on January 19th, I told her, I said, all I want
My
to do
parents
is
are
my
going
job.
on vacation because
I
my
wanna
dad just
work with
retired,
you.
so
I have no hard
they were
feelings
updating
about
me. Guys, look,
Yeah, and that's that. That's that. But the other thing that got brought up by Peggy was some of the hours that were logged in, and then that was also a concern with some of the people we brought in. Brought that up as well. Some of the hours that you actually worked, and not actually being at work. That was a common theme. Everybody we talked to. That,
Right.
You weren't actually at work doing anything. And I guess a couple of them mentioned a computer that you had at home that your excuse was
uncanny,
you had to
really.
go home because you had some information on the computer at home that you didn't at work.
My computer at home is set up the same way as the computer at the house. At the office.
Okay.
my
And if I
computer
was
at
my
home
house
is
doing
just
stuff,
like my computer
right,
at home,
you can go to
man.
my house right now, and I can show you the stuff that I've done, changing policies and changing things. I've had permission from our mayor, Kate Carroll, to go there.
Okay.
Have you had permission from this mayor to go there?
No, and I haven't.
Okay.
Nobody, yeah,
Alright.
so nobody,
I
so
wish I'd have brought
you're
my foot,
operating
my
outside of your district.
phone in.
Interesting.
The times that they're probably talking about is I burnt my foot, right heel, really bad, clear to the bone.
Oh no.
And I had to have a special boot, and it hurt to walk in it. And I would come in the mornings, I would get the mail like I was supposed to.
You talking about how
I
tough
would
his
check
fucking
phone
life
reports
is?
and do everything else.
What does this
And then
have to
I
do with
would
anything?
Go to the house and do what I had to do. But I always had my walker right there, and they knew this.
Well, I think part of it too was they said they came over, a couple times and you were
really
wearing a shorts and t-shirt and watching cops while you were on duty. And that was the, and then when I checked the records, you had them logged down as hours for that day. But my concern is if you're at home that day, and that's true, let's say that's true what he's saying, if you're just sitting around watching cops when you're supposed to be at work, that could be an issue.
Right.
Obviously, you're the chief of police. You wouldn't want one of your guys doing that.
Here is where we start to see problems. It's one thing to take a medical leave or to get permission to work from home. However, Hansy should have gotten permission from the current mayor and not assume that he could continue doing something just because a previous mayor allowed him to do so. Also, the hours counted should only have been those where he was actively working and not on any breaks he might have been taking. There seems to have been some friction between him and the mayor. Small-town politics can be difficult to navigate when you don't know all the parties involved. It's possible it could be completely personal, and she, with the help from others, is trying to fabricate a case for firing him. It's equally possible her animosity stems from a legitimate frustration over his incompetence and dishonesty.
I'm sure there's nothing to go off of.
From, our perspective,
Such a nice guy. And he's a police officer. How bad could he be?
Brought to us as a concern, trying to figure out why or justify why that's happening.
Right.
So that's why I'm asking you, because
this is such a shocking development, guys. I can't believe our boy in blue here, one of the biggest boys in blue of his area, is being accused of finding a way to not work. This is so crazy and unprecedented. Why would they not work when they could just be they're heroes? They work all the time. How is that possible? Why wouldn't he work when he's saving lives all the time from his house? Surely this is the only police officer that's ever abused their position of power to not work properly.
I want you to justify to me why that is a reoccurring thing, though, from everybody we've talked to. It's a reoccurring issue that, Jimmy goes home a lot, and he'll leave and he'll just stay home.
Interesting.
But literally it's a reoccurring thing. Everybody said the same thing.
A police officer gets the highest position in his district and finds every
I
reason to not be there to work.
But I would be in blue jeans or my BDU pants and a shirt that always said police. And I would be doing the stuff that I was allowed to do on the computer for the mayor. And then I would go out and go get cards, tag numbers and stuff with the junk cards. And I would do my OLEG and or write it up. I wouldn't do the OLEG at the house because I couldn't. I could only do it at the office. But I would write the junk card stuff up. Okay. I mean, just because if they come home and see me, I'm in a t-shirt that says police and I'm not wearing my full uniform with the badge and all this, everything else, doesn't mean that I'm cheating the system and not working.
Yeah, you would
I'm
never,
doing a lot of things in the background.
No police officer would ever do that.
Speaking of that, junk cars, I wanted to ask you about that too. What are your procedures for junking cars?
Junking cars?
Yeah, let's say you get a car in an impound, nobody comes and gets it. What is your procedures to get rid of that vehicle?
Run the thing through the
So he's been taking cars that have been towed.
And then
he's been taking impounded cars and junking them for money.
You send that person 10-day notice, or if there's no lien up, you send that person, the owner, 10-day notice, and then if they don't collect it or we get it back, they've got 10 days to pay the towing or anything like that. If not, then I go get a title from the BMV.
10 days? You give them 10 days to collect the fee that you're probably overcharging?
Get 3 bids, and then people come out and look at the, like junkyards or private people or whatever. They look at all the cars all at once and give you 3 bids, and the highest bidder gets them.
Okay. And they get them all intact, the way they're supposed to be. Okay.
Interesting.
You ever taken any batteries out and sold the batteries?
No.
No? And the reason I'm asking in this setting, Jimmy, is this is a setting where under garrity, you can't be charged with what we're talking about. We can't talk about this criminally.
Right.
Okay, but if that comes out criminally,
there it is.
There's going to be some issues probably with stealing. Okay, so there's been those allegations and a little more than just allegations. Very, very specific things that I've checked out that are not making a lot of sense. Okay, one of them especially being a water pump that was taken off of a truck for Randy. And Randy gave the water pump to his brother, Gary. And Randy had your permission to take the water pump off of the truck that was in the impound lot.
Interesting.
So think about that before you answer me, Jimmy, because I want you to be really honest with me, man.
I'm good. I am.
My goal here,
Dude,
I respect you. I really do genuinely.
I'm sure you do. I respect
I want
you.
to make sure that you come out of this thing, okay. Whether that's okay with your job, okay without your job, but what I don't want to see is something that, you get.
I can't believe it.
for,
Other police officers are catering to another police officer
If
who
anyone
did
was
something
taking off
fucked
them
up.
cars, The village already owned them, and they had permission from the mayor to take them.
I'm shocked.
I personally have never taken anything off the cars, out of the cars, anything.
What a rare example that we
Randy and
totally
Mark
didn't see
didn't
also
have,
yesterday.
yes. But they've always had permission, and they've never done anything until the vehicles were owned by the village.
Sure.
And
Village?
they were going to the
Describes their
junkyard.
town.
They
The
were getting
village?
loaded up
What is
that
this? The
day
fucking
or the next
1700s?
day and going to the junkyard to be crushed.
Your
This should be
carriage
easy
is
to check.
owned by the
If records have
village
been
now.
correctly kept,
Peasants.
the accusation could potentially be coming from someone who
We
doesn't
shall
have all the
destroy
information
it
and is
for
just making
parts.
assumptions. However, if Hansy is lying or falsifying paperwork, then it is a very serious offense.
I shall sell
So
your
it's all the same
carriage
pile of money, right?
for coin in
I mean,
my
if one car
pocket.
goes, it goes whole or it goes, are they junking it
Don't
out?
say
Are
the
they checking for all
village.
the equipment? Or are they making sure that if they can pull the engine or a water pump or anything off of that, that the junkyard will do that? Or you sell them, you just sell them out as a whole?
Some at the car. I've seen it when I've taken them there. They ran the forks through the forklift, through the windows.
Ohio,
picked it
a
up,
lot of towns
put it
in
in
Ohio are
this thing,
technically
put it
called
down.
villages.
Yeah. Crush everything like a sandwich.
Yeah, but if I didn't even know about a water
Why?
pump to Gary.
But like, why would
But if
anybody
it
refer
was
to it as a
taken,
village?
Battery, water pump. I will tell you, I knew a jack was
It's like
taken.
people that call dinner supper.
One of them scissor
You're like
jacks.
3
but it
decades
was
behind
already
the
on the
actual
trailer.
terminology here.
Trunk wouldn't lock, and Randy's like, "Oh, we got a jack." All right. But the village owned them vehicles. There was permission by Clay Carroll, and nothing was taken until that stuff was taken. Was the village
Permission
owned it.
from the
Okay,
mayor,
so when
who's not the
village
mayor
owned it,
anymore.
so you guys did everything properly. The village owned it. Did you take any batteries then after they owned it? Did the mayor say, hey, you can take these? I'm trying to, you know, explain it for myself in my head why I've had 2 people tell me the same thing now. 2 different people. One, you know, that I would say is completely on your side. One that says maybe not completely on your side, and they're both telling me the same thing. So I'm trying to figure that out why in my head that would be the case. So is there a circumstance or an instance where you did take a battery or 2 after the mayor cleared it?
I've never taken a battery.
Never.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, I needed to ask you about that. because,
Midwest
like I said,
vocabulary.
I've had a couple of them here. All right.
It's Southern. First of all, this is in Ohio, which is not the South. Second of all, I'm in the Midwest, and I don't say shit like that. I don't go the village of St. Louis. Who the fuck says that? Like, I don't know what the hell people are doing in Ohio, but like the rest of the Midwest ain't talking like that.
All right. So you don't know anything about Randy taking the water pump?
No.
Okay. Because Randy's saying he had your permission to do it, not the mayor's. He said he had your permission.
Well, he probably asked me, "Hey, I'm going to get something of one of these cars," and it may have been, it may have been a water pump, but I don't remember. But
Oh, how
but
convenient.
no one took anything until the village owned the vehicles, and they were going to the scrapyard.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, 10 days to
Matter of fact, I got to tell you,
10 days to pay off
they
your
took some
vehicle
tires
impoundment
off
seems
once
very reasonable.
for a vehicle. There's good tires that would go to the junkyard. We put it up on the thing. They lifted it up, took the tires off
So,
because it would have fit one of the village.
you know how junkers work.
Vehicles.
Oh, nice.
So
Here's an example.
It was things like that.
Jimmy, have you ever taken anything from the vehicles that the mayor said you could take? Any of the vehicles that you were going to impound?
No.
Okay. All right. Going back to now the accidental shooting, I'm going to call it accidental discharge. It was, you shot the ground, right?
I was about to say, how did we get on him like
You knew that
illegally
you were not
junking
on duty,
cars?
right?
I mean, I
I
guess they're
knew
talking
I
about
was
like
on
everything
light
he's
duty.
done, but
Okay, you weren't even on light duty according to your doctor's excuse. You were on light duty until the 12th.
No, I had the doctor's excuse with me.
I've got the doctor's excuse. It doesn't say that you can return until the 12th. And this incident happened on the 10th. But you were not to return to work until the 12th.
Okay, the 12th was a Monday.
Yes.
All right, and this happened on a Saturday.
So like,
Yes, I could have.
One,
I could return to duty on
two.
Monday.
Yes, on Monday. So That means you weren't on duty, you weren't on duty at all, right? That's why you didn't have a gun with you.
Wait, so like 10 is before 12?
Okay, that's because you were not on duty, correct?
Wait.
No, I don't feel that way. I feel that I'm in the village, I'm on duty.
Even though the doctor's saying you're not allowed to be on duty until the 12th.
The doctor said you return to duty. That's a return to work.
Right.
Okay? I was physically working to get paid. I got paid through sick time, but physically showing up and doing the work. But I considered myself on duty.
I didn't go into the police officer building. I didn't go into the district to start working. I was just working.
So, yeah, I considered myself on duty.
Okay, so if one of your officers acted the same way you did, in the same manner, you wouldn't have a problem with that then at all? If they were not due to come back to work for 2 more days and they took a call in the village, they took a call.
In the village.
Cleared to come back for 2 more days, would you per se, do you have a problem with that?
If it was the same situation that I was put in,
Sure.
Doth thou consider me a jester?
And why is that?
Why do you tell me these
there was
jokes?
imminent risk of death. He was there. He had plenty enough people to take care of what the situation was. And
You probably had some officers that could have taken the call in besides you. It's the thought.
what word do I want to use?
You want to use probably duty to do something, right?
Yeah.
I assume that's where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I would not have a problem with that at all. I mean, the accidental discharge was very unfortunate and a bad timing, but, you know, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all because of the imminent danger. And it was just the way she was saying it, you know, just like, he's dying, please help, please help, please help.
Fiend!
Who's responsible for your auxiliary hours?
Jeff or Maiden.
Okay. And who's responsible for are you his boss?
Yes.
Okay, so are you also responsible for the hours that go to city council?
The person that you're in charge of
you're turning those
clocks
to
your
city council,
hours.
right?
That's interesting.
As the end of the month report, you mean?
Yeah, the end of the month report where you've got all the hours listed for everybody that worked, all the calls were taken, all that stuff.
Yeah, we get the calls and everything out of the
This will go
computer
well.
system.
Okay.
And Jeff would estimate the hours.
How's he estimating the hours? I'm confused on that part.
I work 80 hours a week.
I tell him.
I mean, 80 hours a week.
Every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks. That's 160 a month, so he'd put 160. He would take what he was supposed to work, divide that by 2. That's what he would get, just down the line like that.
Okay, that's for the full-timers, right?
For the paid, yes.
For the paid people. And Jeff or Maiden was in charge of all the paid people.
And I'm
to make
sure
that
this is
all of their,
accurate.
numbers were accurate?
Well, we turn in them on the payroll slip.
Right, but who was ultimately responsible for that?
So that's not a
To make
yes.
sure those numbers are correct.
Those numbers were estimations. They were never correct, not meant to be correct.
So the hours you're listing as your work hours for your wage, like the amount you're paid, are meant to be estimated? Because, like, how many people would love to estimate their hours worked? Me. Everybody would. But that's not how it works. Not how it works. But go on.
You guys are paid by the hour, right?
Sounds like a little bit of corruption to me.
An estimate by the hour. How does that work? Because we have a time clock. We got to turn stuff. I mean, we literally have a time clock.
See, we don't.
Right, which is crazy, but it keeps track of our hours very well.
We used to have a time clock, and for some reason, I don't know why it went out.
But if you don't work, if
Oh,
I
the
estimate you
time
worked
clock wasn't
20
working.
Hours, but you only work 15 hours. Am I not cheating a village out of 5 hours?
Interesting.
Or your police department, your
Well, I
limited
don't
budget,
know.
are
It
you
kind of
cheating
fell
yourself
down
out
the
of
stairs
hours
and
if you do it
stopped
that way?
working, and we
No,
never
because
replaced it. It's the
our hours
craziest
were-
thing.
It was not estimated.
It
the
caught on
hours worked was
fire
by
and
our
combusted.
timesheets.
Okay.
And then it was
was
verified
crazy.
with Mary over here.
Okay, how would Mary know how much you worked?
Oh, she would see us. I mean, you would write your hours down.
Right.
I mean, you know, like if you go out there right now, I'll sit here with you. You'll see 6 a.m. on my timesheet, but you won't have a time ending.
Okay.
Because before I leave and go home, I would write, okay, let's say I'm up 4 today. I write 4 p.m. the amount of hours, and you come over here and you put the hours.
Yes.
God, what a hero.
Do you have like you don't do any kind of trip sheets or anything then, right? 'Cause you're the chief?
We mean trip sheets.
Like a log, trip log, like
Exactly.
your officers do when they're out
No.
riding around.
You are so brave.
This system
Yeah,
is
fuck
very
it, I just make it
inefficient
up.
and easily abused.
No
Even if
way.
everyone is currently being 100% honest, there is no way to deny any accusations that might be made out of malice, and there is nothing to prevent someone from coming along in the future and taking advantage. In any job, but especially those in law enforcement, accountability
believe
must
that.
be maintained at all times.
No fucking way. Yeah, they
Makes sense.
totally do
You're
that.
chief, so you're just putting in your time, your hours, and that's it.
Yeah.
All they do is just like, be
So
accountable.
who is
That's
ultimately
their
responsible
their
for making
strength
sure
for
those
sure.
hours are correct?
Are you talking on the sheet that?
I'm talking about the sheets that you guys turn in to Mary. Who is responsible for those numbers that go over there?
Ultimately, me.
Okay.
But I didn't do their time sheets. They would do. Each officer does
Can't
their own
believe it.
time sheet.
Sure.
Like if you two work for me, you do your time sheet, you do your time sheet, and then on Monday mornings when I come into work when it was supposed to be turned in, I'd look.
Right.
All right. I know your day's off,
Right.
and I'm going to know if you're you had to work over or something. I'm going to know that, and I just verify through there, and then I sign it.
So you know when somebody has to work over or comes in for somebody else, they notify you, so you know about
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right.
So I'm in charge
So
of it, but I
then
usually just make it
You're also
up.
responsible for making sure the numbers are accurate when they go to Mary, who I assume Mary does some other report as well, or did at the time.
I have no clue. We just turn in our time sheets to her.
But you make a report for city council, or for village council, I'm sorry, if I keep calling it city council, I'm
Yeah.
just used to this. You make a report for
I'm
village
used to being
council,
normal.
right?
You
At the end
understand.
of the month, they would get a report.
Yes.
On with the fire department and every street department and everything else.
Right, and that report is done by who?
We're making,
Okay, so Vermaiden does the report. He does the report up, and I would assume, since you're the guy in charge ultimately, and you're the one responsible for numbers ultimately, you look at that report.
no,
You don't look at the report that Vermaiden's doing?
no, he would come in or on a Friday, when I'm off on Fridays,
Uh-huh.
and he knows Monday is the council meeting, he would do it up.
He
and
would
then he
do
take
it
over
up.
and give it to Valerie.
Yeah.
There's a plenty
Yeah,
of times I
Jeff,
would
do it
never
up.
see that report.
Okay.
Prank them.
So,
Do it up. Prank them, Jeff.
so nobody looks at what Vermaiden's doing? As far as the numbers go?
I'm
the
something
reports?
like
He would
that.
do those
no.
hours up, baby.
Because
He would
they-
do them
they
up
were
real
just
hard.
Estimated numbers of, he could put me down for 160 hours a month.
He would estimate the
about-
fuck out of those
Okay,
numbers.
I see where you're going with that. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Let's go back, let's
Make
say
my wallet
the auxiliaries.
real nice and
Who keeps track of
thick.
their
He would
numbers?
do it up hard.
I got where paid guys are, Vermaiden's
Yeah.
in charge of the paid guys. I got
For
it.
maintenance.
So Vermaiden's also in charge of the
Yes.
auxiliaries.
Yes, I will
Okay.
repeat his
So
name.
when
Yes.
those numbers go over, do you check their numbers too to make sure that they're accurate? Because you said, like you said, you know who's coming and going in your police department.
Well, he'd put the hours down for them. They were, some of them worked 16 hours a week, a month. Some of them worked more.
And some of them worked less. In fact, a lot of them worked less.
What?
I have no clue.
But you know who comes, but you know who's coming and going, Jimmy. That's the whole thing I want to get at. You know who's coming and going in the department.
No way.
And there are people like Schilling. Is it Schilling? Schiller? I know he's
Jason Schilling.
Jason Schilling.
Yeah.
I
Jason
talked to lots
Derulo.
of people and they said he
No?
only comes during taser training.
Okay.
That's it. And he's listed for 16 hours a month,
Correct.
every single month.
Correct.
Correct.
Because Frank Foster, our mayor,
Uh-huh.
said he did our radar, he did our taser, and he did something. What else did he do? Radar, taser. I want
He
to
abuses
say
power. Got it.
self-defense.
Oh,
The mayor said he could,
yeah, they love that one.
he saved us so much money without having to farm out that training that he would give you the 16 hours every month.
Gotcha.
That was Foster,
So your old mayor,
Frank Foster.
is that 2 mayors ago?
This is crazy. Are you saying that they shortened training procedure to save money? I just can't believe that. There's just no way. No way they would do something like that. They train so rigorously everywhere, all the time. Every single one of them. Yep.
So your mayor, 2 mayors ago said that was okay.
Yes.
So you guys continue
2
to put
mayors
16
ago?
hours on the monthly report that's turned into village council.
2?
Yes.
Even though he was not working 16 hours.
He wasn't physically working 16 hours. That's
Right.
But he would come out every once in a while.
I agree. No, they said that too. They said he'd come out every now and then. But he wasn't coming out 16 hours a month, was he?
No.
No. So when you're taking a report and it's being generated by the police department and it's going over to village council as him having 16 hours a month, that's not accurate.
How does this?
It may not be 16 hours.
How does this guy not understand how fucked up that is?
I believe it is accurate because the mayor, Frank Foster, said, giving his, we will train him to 16 hours a month if he continues to train us like that.
Former mayor.
And that's the way we did it.
I understand what you're saying.
Not the mayor.
I do. I get it. But, you know, a guy like that's invaluable. You know, but you want
Yeah,
that
but the guy who's not in charge anymore
to the village council
told me 8 years ago
the
that this was
numbers don't
okay.
match what is actually going on.
The way Hansy's voice raises in pitch shows that he is aware that his answers aren't holding water. As a police chief, he should be on top of these issues and know exactly who is responsible for every step of these procedures, as well as the rationalization of how the
Intonation isn't
payment
exactly
for the
an
work hours
admission
is
of guilt.
determined.
You know, so if you're putting 16 hours down, it looks like that guy's been there for 16 hours that month. He put in
Not
at least
very
16
provable.
hours of time, right?
If you wanted to look at it that way, yes.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how else to look at it, Jimmy, when it comes to that, because again, yeah, valuable guy. You want to keep him around. You want to keep him happy, but he's not putting the numbers in that you are saying he's putting in. Does that make sense?
He's like,
Is that fair
I
to
see
say?
the number side of things.
Okay.
Okay, I see your number
I
side
see
of
your
things.
argument, but that makes me look bad.
But also on this side of the tracks,
You mean the abuse of power
the
side?
mayor said, do this because he
Former
trains
mayor.
us like this. You know, 1 month we'd have our taser, and then it would be like a month and a half, 2 months we'd have to do our radar, and then the other one. So I see where you're saying number-wise 16, but I'm doing what the mayor said to do.
Former mayor.
Okay, so let's say the mayor didn't say to do that.
Huh?
Let's say the mayor did not tell you to do that. All right, let's say that doesn't have anything to do with it. Is that still an accurate number if the mayor doesn't say that you can do it? If you put 16 on there, does he work 16 hours a month?
I wouldn't do it.
I know, but is that
yeah,
accurate? Is that accurate that he works? Let me just say it this way. Is it accurate that he works, he comes out to Buckeye Lake and physically works 16 hours a month?
No.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get at. Okay. Now, Vicki Glover, when's the last time she worked for you guys?
Oh, I don't. It's been a while.
Been 2 years. Over 2 years. Would it be accurate that she worked in October of 2017?
No.
No, but she got 16 hours for that month too. On the report that you
He's
guys
just
turned in
clocking
to the
former
village council.
police. Oh,
How's
God.
that? Because she's not even on the department.
Exactly. She's not. She's not on the department.
No one took her off the sheet.
No
Yeah,
one took her off the
except
sheet, but somebody
he-
filled out that she worked for 16
But he's
hours.
in charge. He's the
Yeah,
one that makes
just-
those calls.
16 every month.
And you don't have a problem with that?
This is a gross oversight and also begs the question,
Oh, really?
where is the money going? Are these people continuing to accept payment for jobs they aren't doing?
Either
is
that or
someone
he's
skimming the
pocketing it.
money?
Yeah.
As a chief of police,
That I do.
Oh,
Yes.
Sounds like some
certainly have a
fraud
problem
from
with that.
Chief here.
That I do.
Not only
Yes.
that, we've got Bartow. He works a lot, I understand, but not all the time. Well, what's the other name here? Bear.
Tedra?
Tedra does not work 16 hours a month, but it's on there for 16 hours a month. Every month that she's been there, she's got 16 hours a month. I call her.
Bro, this guy's a
No, it's not
fucking
accurate.
idiot. He has everybody
I
he's
call the guy she rides with,
baking
Hoss.
hours
Jeff Hoss.
Jeff Hoss,
on the
Jeff says no, she
same
does not work
amount.
16 hours a
What a
month.
moron.
Yeah, you guys put 16 hours a month on that sheet.
Again,
They'll never
You understand,
know.
that's a criminal charge. That could be a criminal charge to do all that
there's no
stuff.
monetary value.
There's no monetary value. You're making it public. You're making it public record. You're falsifying a public document because it's going over to village council. You see what I'm saying? So you're falsifying a document that goes over there, and I don't know why. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. You know, but I mean, this is a place to explain it, Jimmy. If you're going to, I mean, this is where it gets explained.
I mean, no.
Well, sure,
but
I know. This is where it gets explained. Jeff did them, and probably I should have.
It shouldn't be, but I can't imagine a cop's going to
But,
be
you
smart
know,
enough to realize
that's
it's not.
my bad. I'm sorry about that, but Jeff did them.
So who's ultimately responsible for those hours? You are. That's what we just said, right?
Right.
You're responsible for them. Okay? And if it's something that, you screwed up with and you should have more oversight, then just say that.
Classic Jeff antics.
You're right. I probably should have, but
Classic Jeff maneuver.
You delegate
What a silly
something
guy.
to someone, and you have faith in that person. And evidently, I shouldn't have had faith in that person.
Well, here's the thing. I delegate things to him all the time, constantly, because I'm a supervisor. But what I also do on the back end is I go and check to make sure they're done.
Well,
Not that I don't trust them, but being a supervisor,
Jeff
you
is
have
so
to make sure.
diabolical.
And that's
What
what I
a
should
little
have done.
scamp he is.
And let's, the biggest thing is, and especially in our job, is accountability. We
Right.
all have to be accountable. Ultimately, whatever I screw up, and he's my supervisor, it goes on him. He actually screws up if I screw up.
Yeah, I'm
You
sure.
know, and you're the department head,
That's
right?
what happens
I
with
mean,
the police.
everything under you falls on your shoulders, correct?
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah, I totally do that.
when I would delegate things to Andy, and Andy would do it, and it'd be done right. And I'd probably, and I shouldn't even.
Yeah, we really care for accountability here in the police department. Ignore the thousands of cases of lack of accountability by the police. But we're really trying hard to make sure we're all doing the right thing here. And you're making us look bad. Mainly because you got caught. But we're not going to say that out loud. But like, what the heck, man?
Use the word probably. I expected the same thing out of Jeff from Mayton.
Sure.
And and I thought, well, I've known Jeff for a long time. He's not a screw up. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And you're right, I should have said, let me have that report. Because I honestly never see the report. He would either do it on Friday, or he would come in on Monday when I was working.
Oh, so
and
you
he would
don't-
ship it right off to Valerie, and Valerie would print it and give it
So
to
you
the other
wouldn't do
people,
your
give it
job.
to the council.
Okay.
But you're right, I should have had more, should have
Has some
doing this
oversight.
right, But I had, Andy did a hell of a job for me, and I didn't have any problems, and I got into that blind side, you'd want to say.
So when you guys are computing
Love that
auxiliary
movie.
hours, you don't.
Sandra Bullock,
There's no
right?
system there,
Phenomenal.
right?
There was a system, and I think Ron did away with it. They had a time, they had it
How long have you been chief, though?
4 years.
So in 4 years, you got no system in place to track those hours, right?
Right.
Okay.
And we have in the last probably 3 months or long, or
Can't
not
believe
long,
Jeff would
there is an auxiliary that says
make
reserve
me approve
hours
false
now on this
hours
big book.
and put money
They
in
come
my
and
wallet.
write,
Why would
they're
Jeff
not
do
Supposed
that?
to,
Supposed to.
but nobody does it, according to everybody I talk to.
I mean, if one of the guys, auxiliaries, comes out and slides out and rides with whoever at night, and if I don't hear them on the radio, or they don't stop by my house.
Shame
I
on
don't know
Jeff
the
for
word.
loading my bank account. What the hell?
Okay.
Why would he do something like that? Take him away.
So these checks that were cashed for the insurance company. Now, I talked to the insurance company about those checks, and they had some pretty big issues with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right? That may be something that I'm going to have to turn over to somebody else to investigate criminally if it gets to that point. I may have to
Insurance
do that.
fraud as
I also
well?
was there, the insurance checks that when you were transported to the hospital and you were supposed to pay, you weren't supposed to cash them.
Jeff's
You
a
cashed 4 of
menace.
them.
Oh, Lord. You gotta be kidding me.
See, Jimmy, the problem with
Oh,
internal
Lord.
investigation
I've been
is
caught.
once it starts rolling, it starts
Run!
opening the door to all kinds of other stuff.
Get the fuck out of here.
It just goes to show that you can get away with something like this for years, but once an investigation actually takes place, they will dig up every infraction ever committed and throw it at you all at once. And while those things must be addressed,
Only
it shouldn't
'cause
have
they get
been
caught.
allowed to get to this point in the first place.
Only because they got
Yeah,
caught for
I
doing
have a
it.
duty
They
now
would never
to
do this
at
if
least address it and try
if
to
nobody
figure
brought
out
it up.
what's
They
going
wouldn't
on.
do this.
In this setting, again, you're under garrity.
Remember this. This is only being brought up because he got literally caught firing a gun. This never would have happened if he wasn't stupid in public. Just to remind you guys, this is because he fired a weapon in a private in a house. He had an accidental discharge in a house, and now all of his corruption is being brought to light. This would have never happened had the actual perpetrator publicly not fucked up. Just to remind you.
Okay, I I can't use anything.
They would
you
not
say,
have done this otherwise.
Period. Okay.
Oh, I understand.
So, all right, I want you to understand that, you know, before you.
This is funny. These checks, I honestly, wholeheartedly, with my life, believe they were my Aflac checks. Because I talked to John Curtis.
Not the Aflac checks, dude.
He says you've got a check coming.
Don't you bring that fucking duck into this shit.
Follow-up visits. I just got a check, and you can run out to my truck or give me the keys. I got $3,100 out there. I just got an Aflac check for this.
Okay.
I honestly, wholeheartedly, 1,000,000% believe them checks were mine. This started to piss me off. When I found out they weren't, I made arrangements and they were taking money out of my payroll every month.
Were they though?
They mentioned
I didn't fight the system.
Okay.
Because I honestly, guys, I honestly believed they were my checks.
So did you get any Aflac checks during that time that you were getting those checks?
Yes.
Okay, so did you wonder, like, hey, wait a minute, why is Aflac sending me another check?
No, because he told me that I had money coming from follow-ups.
Gotcha.
So when are they going to talk about the part where checks have like a literal line on them to say where they're from? When are they going to bring up the fact that like checks literally have like a thing that's like from this person? I don't know about you guys, but insurance companies are very particular about the money they give out. So I'm pretty sure they would be like, this is from us. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to just like give them a blank check and be like, here you go. I'm pretty sure they'd be fairly clear that it's from them. In fact, they probably have their own checks. Aflac probably has their own checks with like the fucking Aflac duck on it. That like when they open the checkbook, it goes like Aflac or some shit. I wonder if they're going to bring it up.
Just like a few minutes ago, I go to the hospital. I've been to the hospital since February 4th, every day for 3 hours. I turned in everything he just told me. He said, get everything else you need because you've got follow-up money coming from your Aflac accidental insurance.
Okay.
That's what I thought those checks were.
Have you been able to recognize those checks now when they come so that you don't cash them? Or is there
Yes.
something that you can say, hey, I can't cash these checks anymore?
Matter of fact, I got another check, and I said, who does this belong to? I took it
The
to
IRS
to the
yelled
village.
at
They said
me.
it was me. So I cashed that check. That, guys, was 1,000 fucking million%.
1,000 fucking
mistake
million%
on my part, but it was not out to steal anything from
Interesting
anybody.
number.
I never stole anything from anybody, and I never would and never will.
Hansy is visibly upset at this accusation.
I wonder why.
And it seems like it was a miscommunication about the checks.
No way.
It also sounds like the problem was already being addressed and he was paying the money back, and there should be witnesses that can verify that these conversations took place.
Sincerely doubt it.
Okay.
That check stuff, and we even talked to the lady with Mayor Carroll, and we got it all upset out them taking money out of my
I thought police were supposed to be nice guys. Why is this guy
checking account.
swearing?
Every month I called the lady. This is my bank number. This is my routing number. They're taking money out. Evidently they're paid off because they don't take out anymore.
Okay. So you guys have made arrangements to get it taken care of.
Yeah, there was arrangements taken care of.
Okay, perfect.
Every month that money came out.
Is it still coming out, or you got to pay?
No, it's got to be paid off because they haven't been taking their money out.
Okay. All right.
Guys, that upsets me.
But you got to understand that there's something like that.
Not you guys.
I understand. And you know, Jimmy, I don't want this to be an adversarial thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, I want this to be.
I understand
just
the
all out
whole
there,
me
and, out of respect for
pocketing
you,
extra
and the job
money
you've
for
done so long,
falsifying work hours,
I wanna
but
give you opportunities here.
when you
That's
say
it.
I'm
I don't
causing
wanna
insurance
force your
fraud,
hand
I
anything.
draw the
I don't
line.
wanna give
That's
you
where I
advice.
make my
All I wanna do
stand.
is try to find out everything that
Guys, I don't have nothing to hide.
There was somebody mentioned a suicide scene where $140 came up missing too. And
Oh,
they said
interesting.
that you had access to the money, and that you mentioned that the dead guy wasn't going to miss the money. You recall anything about that?
No.
No.
Oh no.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Totally not. He's got like the money in his pocket right now. Like, why would I do that?
You guys get a lot of suicides out there?
What?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, some of 17. Do you remember how many last year?
What a question.
You know, the last suicide I was on was with Andy. And a guy had shot himself in a bed, in a bunk bed.
Yep, that's the incident I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So if you recall that, you recall some money being exchanged or being taken from the scene?
I bet it was Jeff.
Andy took everything because I couldn't stand the smell.
Uh-huh.
And I do believe his family came and got everything.
Okay. The deceased family did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet Jeff took the
Yeah.
money.
All right.
It's his MO
Log
after
sheets.
all.
Who's responsible for keeping the guys' log sheets? The guys and gals that work out there, their road log sheets.
They write it out during the night and put it in the box.
There are 3 months from last year completely missing.
Road logs, or
Jeff's
are you
really
talking
setting this
about
guy up,
Both
huh?
road logs and actually city council, the reports that you guys send to city council, those are
Yeah.
also missing.
Now I know Peggy said something about them.
They're all missing. The whole month, like 3 months worth. You know, I think it was April and July.
It was April, July, and
Time of the year.
November.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
because I was looking for them yesterday for her.
Okay. Yeah. Any idea what happened to those?
Not, I talked to Jeff Mayton, because he gathers them up, puts them in a big envelope. He does the monthly report, copies it, shoves it in with the road logs, flips
Jeff's
it over
just
and writes
not real.
road logs and stats.
Jeff's
in
like
the
also
month
a
and the
made-up
year,
employee.
And he takes the other report over to Valerie. I asked him what he done with them. He has no clue what he done with them.
Why are you allowing them to leave the office in the first place? I know that everybody's mentioned everybody's got stuff at home. Why has anybody got anything at home? Why does Jeff or Mate have any paperwork at home?
That's a great
any
question.
Files or anything else like that?
The only thing he would have at home would be his qualifications for us, and them are his copies. And when Peggy was asking me about
Jeff's
the
my dark
qualifications,
side.
I didn't know Jeff already put them all together, and they were in the cabinet right by his desk.
Gotcha.
So there was.
And let me ask you this, Jimmy. And again, this has got to stay here with this stuff. Did you guys ever kind of cheat your way through the qualifications? Because I looked at your qualifications, and you know, if you've shot, you've only missed one round, you know, throughout 3 different guns in a couple of different years, and then you went to try to qualify this time and couldn't hit anything. Something jumped out. Right
Jeff's
there,
from another
just for me as
district.
being
You guys wouldn't
investigator.
know him.
And then when I talked to everybody, they said they don't watch you qualify. No one's seen you qualify besides Vermeer.
I qualified before everybody because I was told that I have to watch them.
Okay.
In case I have to testify in court, yes, they did do well, and Vermeijen wasn't their trainer.
Now, were those 100% accurate, the scores that Vermeer gave you?
Yes.
Okay.
Jeff Vermeijen will not pass you if you didn't.
Okay.
He'll make you, matter of fact, I'll give you a scenario
Oh,
with
please.
Andy Davis.
Qualifications seem like a rather stupid thing to lie about given the length of his career.
True.
It shouldn't be difficult for him to maintain. It is possible, especially considering the lax nature of the department, that it was handled in an informal manner that wouldn't hold up in most other forces.
No fucking way.
Paperwork is clearly not their strong suit.
Andy wanted Jeff to say, hey, I did my hours when Andy got in trouble in
work
Muskegon
is not their
County.
strong suit.
He got work, he had to work at the dive team. Andy said, just tell him that I was here and worked. Jeff said, absolutely not.
Okay.
I am not doing that.
And why
And he
is
wouldn't
Jeff
do it.
letting other people claim hours that never happened?
I think it's just not muscle memory. I just think Jeff thinks that, you know, it's 16 hours. He wouldn't know if someone came out and worked.
Fucking Jeff, dude.
Like during the day when he's off, or during the night weekend when he's off.
How could Jeff
I
do
think
this?
he just thinks it's the honor system, and I'm going to give you 16 hours, and he's not 100% sure if they did or not. I don't think it was to deceive anybody. It's not to.
Totally not.
Jimmy, would you say that everybody got 16 hours in just based on what you know?
The guys that I have now,
I'm talking about, let's think of all the 17.
Why is
Let's
the
just take 17
volume like
to
increased
right
in
now.
this room, by the
You think
way?
everybody really got their 16 hours in?
if they didn't get their 16,
Like
they
all
got
3 of
close
them are
to it.
speaking at a higher volume
But
all of a
every-
sudden.
you know,
But you would say that's an accurate statement then, that not everyone got their 16 hours in?
I would say it's accurate. They were close, but
Gotcha.
may not have got to 16.
Okay.
Some of them may have got more than 16, and you know they only got wrote down.
But that's fair to say though, right? That
Yeah.
they didn't get 16 all the time. And it's also fair to say that you're in charge of that. Ultimately, it's your department, your responsibility to make sure those numbers are accurate.
Them numbers were never ever in the whole world ever meant to be accurate.
No, Jeff's
That was
setting
just
me
a
up, I
summary of
swear.
What we've done.
Okay.
The only
How can you literally say with a straight face that the hours that somebody worked are not meant to be accurate? That is directly how somebody gets paid. That's directly how payment is distributed. How can this guy literally say that and feel like that's not just like the dumbest thing he could ever say? That is directly how money is distributed in any workforce of any sense. How could you be like, well, the numbers are supposed to, like, their hours worked are supposed to be just, they're just supposed to be like guesses. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. What?
only thing accurate in that whole thing was the very front page. That was accuracy.
And it wasn't accurate because you guys missed Ritter's numbers on almost every month.
What do you mean?
Like Ritter's numbers that he had, your call volume is actually way bigger than you guys claim it is.
Oh,
you
no
guys
way.
had more calls and did more things than you guys claim. Because you didn't factor Ritter's numbers in. All of Ritter's call records, all his calls, all his stats.
Oh, so not only
Even
is
his
he
hours worked, nobody calculated it.
not only is he pocketing
The Ritter's not
like
putting his stuff in
former
the computer.
officers' work hours,
And that's
he's
would be the
screwing another
problem there with
officer's work
call volume.
hours.
What do you mean put stuff in the computer?
He's not typing his stuff in his CRs and call records in.
Okay. So
And I wouldn't
you
know
guys
that.
go off of that for the call logs. So you take the call logs, you put them in the computer, and then Vermaiden gets those numbers off of the computer.
And then
to-
this
Yeah, he
one,
gives
this
it
one
energy,
police
you
officer,
know,
fuck that
and it's
guy.
generated from the computer. So if that call number is low and it's Ritter's not putting his stuff in.
Ritter's name's not even on it. Ritter's name's not even on the list of anything that's been done. Go grab one of those packets for me.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, Ritter's getting the shit
Ritter's
beaten
name
out
is
of
not
him.
actually even on the list of auxiliary officers or part-time officers, full-time officers. His name's not even on a lot of it.
So he's just
So-
like not getting
No,
paid.
so we wrote it in and put down the stats that he got, and your numbers actually rose. Instead of being down here, they actually rose a lot. So you guys aren't getting credit for a lot of stuff you're doing because his numbers aren't being calculated in that. So, I don't think your village council is getting an accurate number, really, of anything. They're not getting an accurate number of how many people are coming out to work, their hours.
This is
or their
truly a
call
mystery.
Hansy appears genuinely surprised at this information. The incompetence is just sad at this point and isn't even benefiting them in a way where it would make sense for this to be deliberate.
Very true.
Steve Ritter's name's not on that report.
Yeah, and I'll show you when he brings it back over here.
They
It's
just
not-
don't
it's not
have an
wrong.
officer
Yeah, when you
listed
open it up,
as
you got all his
working?
call logs.
What does he
So
get
you know his
paid
call
in?
logs are on
Clout?
there,
Like,
all
what's
his hours
happening?
Are on the call logs that he did. And everybody
What?
he picked up is on there. Now, what I did too is I went back and looked at all the call logs, and there are guys and gals that have 0 call logs. None. But yet they got 16 hours listed. And they're not on one call log.
Oh,
They're
they're
not on one-
auxiliary?
They're auxiliaries. They're not on any call
They're just,
logs,
like,
on
not
anybody
listing this
else's
guy as
call log
working.
either.
That's
They didn't pick up
crazy.
anybody. They didn't take anybody back. They didn't do a slash
He gets
mark. They
paid
didn't
in,
put their name on
in
it,
free
nothing.
donuts from
They
Dunkin'.
usually put their name on it. Like if, let's say Tedra rode with Hawes,
Uh-huh.
he would put his name on it, and he should put Bear's name on there.
Yep.
Tedra.
Some of them do, most of them don't. Ritter's pretty good about putting another name on there if he has somebody ride with him, and so
Right.
is a Haas.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. I mean,
Well,
they
yeah.
don't at all. So when I look at it, and you think about it from a village council point of view, if I'm looking at something like that and I want to see who's out, I see that this guy has 16
the
hours
village
listed this
council,
month.
dude.
So I go back through all the records, and there's not one mention of him there. There's not one log. There's not any number. There's not anything filled out that says he was there at all. So how do I verify that?
That is
Well,
so funny.
if Ritter and Hawes is doing that, the only other person would
They actually
Vermaiden, because no
suck
one comes
so
out
bad at their
working, they all
job,
work
they
day
just
shift.
forgot about one of their
So-
officers.
I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean-
Did you see a problem with the way things are?
I see things needs to be changed.
Sure.
Majorly.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem changing that stuff majorly.
Maybe the person in charge
But
should
I
get
had
their
no
shit
clue
together. I wonder
that
who that
Steve
is.
Ritter is not on that
Well,
list.
for instance, see January here? We actually wrote
How
in
long
Ritter and
is he just-
Jackson because Jackson actually wrote with Ritter, I think that.
How long was he
one
just
day
like
that month.
not
So
on
we
this
wrote his
list of
stats in
officers
there, his
being
his
paid?
hours in there anyway. And then Andy Davis picked up Bartow, and Bartow got 7 hours that day.
Yeah.
But Bartow didn't get 16 hours in that month.
Now, There's times here that Bartow is our bailiff,
Okay.
and he would do the bailiff. There would be no call log for him.
Is there any record of that?
Sure.
Does he sign in or something, or do we?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Is there
No.
anything that's written down for that?
No, he comes in and he would be the bailiff.
All right.
Not that we can prove that.
See, Vicky Glover's still on. When is this one? 17.
That's January 17th. She was probably been gone
Yeah.
half a year at least.
See, this should have been updated. He goes in the computer and gets this every month. Because he has
Fucking
to
Jeff.
change that from month to month.
Fucking
January,
Jeff.
February. And then New Year would come in, put the 18.
Well, you see your total calls for service is 93.
Mm-hmm.
That's not counting Ritters.
See?
So
Now
is that
this
a lot?
number, if that number is off, then Steve Ritter's not putting his CRs in our computer system.
Oh, so it's
Because this is
Steve's
generated from our computer system.
Gotcha.
So if that number's off, then Steve's not doing what he's supposed to do, and he's hiding his CR somewhere.
Gotcha.
Because I'm not finding him, because I'll see him in the
Literally,
book.
why would he
Yeah.
do that?
But I don't go in and check every one of them in the computer.
Why would he willingly hide his
But-
work hours
You're right, Ritter's
and
name
get
ain't
paid
on this.
less? Why?
Right, it's not
Why?
on a lot.
What sane person would do that?
You know, so the
Didn't
reports
know
are just
that.
generated like that, and then they're turned to city council or village council like that. So, and there's,
You know what, I never even thought to even think of that.
yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot of it.
Wow.
Were there any times, Jimmy, that you claimed some hours that you didn't actually work?
Man, I'm really
No.
stupid.
There's hours that I work
This is
that I
crazy.
don't put down on my timesheet.
So you working extra hours and not claiming?
Yes.
What a
This,
hero.
my phone would ring constantly, and I'd have to go out. I
God, he
never
is
put
so
the
brave.
hours, all the hours down,
Right.
because I know we're short of money, and I didn't want to work myself out of a job. You can ask any mayor that.
Yeah.
He's such a
What's the
hero.
most people you guys have had out at one time?
2,
Two?
3,
At
What
any
he was
time, any
cry
given
saying
day?
that? Dude.
usually 2. I would work 6 to 4,
Uh-huh.
and then someone would come out from noon to 10,
Okay.
and they would come out at noon to give me that 4 hours to go in the office and see what stuff that I had to do.
Okay. All right.
Based on this conversation alone, several people are guilty of negligence. These errors should have been caught long before now if anyone
Crazy.
involved had been doing their job properly.
Oh,
Ultimately, the responsibility
police
does
are
fall
so
on
good
Hansy
at being
since he
accountable,
is the
though.
chief. But others
could this
bear
happen?
investigation as well.
So, is there any time that you would have 3 or 4 people working
it's
at
like
once?
their MO to be accountable to each
no,
That would
other.
be nice.
Are you saying they were
Right, it would be.
all in on
So April
pocketing
25th,
extra money?
2017, you have 4 people listed as working at the same time.
Who?
There's
You
no
got
way.
Davis, Vermaiden, you, and Ritter.
I just feel like our public
Now,
heroes
also on
would
that
never
day-
do that.
And I've been told by 2 people, you and
You know?
Vermaiden went 4-wheeling that day over in Perry State Park, Perry State Forest, which we've called Perry State Forest. We've also called dispatch and got the call runs and everything else and who marked in, who marked out and all that stuff. You guys aren't anywhere on there. You and Vermaiden are nowhere on there. On the call logs, on
Right.
the CR, nothing, 0.
What day was it?
April 25th, 2017, it was on a Tuesday. Ritter actually got called into work to cover for either you or Vermaiden, one of the 2. He was not on his regular scheduled days.
Did he get logged
Yeah.
as doing that?
Okay.
Do you remember that day? Do you remember going forward with Vermaiden?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it was on
We've
that.
been forward on several places.
Sure, that was on a Tuesday, and do you remember going to Perry State Forest?
We've been there several times.
Do you remember going to Muskingum first? And then they're not open, then you went over to there?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah,
That's the
God
day,
damn,
right?
bro.
yeah.
Okay, that's the day that you went on Tuesday, the 25th, I think it was.
Okay, then Ritter
You gotta
worked for
yell and
Vermaiden,
shit.
and I took the day off.
Okay, so you do remember that day then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you took a day off. What about Vermaiden?
Probably used sick time like I did.
Okay, so you used sick time that day?
I'm supposed to, yeah.
So you used sick time that day on the 25th to go out 4-wheel. So you weren't sick.
No, I
But
just
you were- this is-
well, I shouldn't say sick time, it was PTO time,
Okay. What is your PTO time? Explain it to me.
personal time off.
Okay. What do you have to do to have personal time off? You just get that?
Yeah, our
It's
pay
like
stubs
comp
don't
time.
say sick time. It says PTO, and then we get vacation.
Isn't that like a
I get
normal
you
thing?
cure so much, and I mean,
a
if
lot
you
of
wanted
jobs
a day
have.
off, you just
Why do they
say,
need
hey,
him
I'm
to
gonna take this day
explain
off, and
paid time
just like
off?
that day.
Right.
Vermaiden had to have said, hey, this, do you want to go there? And I'm like, yeah, get someone to work for me.
Gotcha.
Okay, call Ritter.
Explain this whole
Okay, that's what happened that day then?
break
Had to be.
thing from working.
Okay. So who called Ritter in? You or him?
I think, you know what, I can't tell you that, I don't remember.
Okay. But you know Ritter was called in to cover somebody's shift?
Yeah.
Okay.
On a Tuesday, it'd be Jeff Vermaiden by himself.
Right, so Vermaiden would have had to take a personal day off, and you would have to take a personal day off at that point too?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you take a personal day off, how do you notate that you took a personal day off when you guys turn in your timesheets?
Should be put sick down there and then the amount of hours you took.
Okay. How many hours is, now, refresh my memory here, did you take sick time or did you take a personal?
Right, it's PTO time.
Okay, that's considered the same thing as sick time for you
Yes.
guys? So you don't actually have sick time, you have to take PTO time?
Right.
And you have to accrue that time, or how's that
Yeah,
work?
it accrues.
Okay, alright, so you would have to
This is
take
just like a
PTO time
normal
across
thing, is it
timesheets.
not?
Or,
Why?
yeah, sick PTO, whatever you put on there,
And
yeah.
that would be for how many hours?
Well, we both work 10-hour shifts, so it'd be 10 hours,
Okay, alright,
since we took the whole day off.
gotcha. Alright. But you do recall calling him in for that particular day, and you guys going forward on that particular day?
Yes, because we went to the one place and they were closed.
And that
Yes.
was it Muskingum, was I right about that? Or
No, some other,
was Zanesville, was it somewhere in, I thought it was Muskingum somewhere, or, that's the information I had, and then they were closed, and then you guys went to Perry.
we went to Perry, different part of Perry, and they hadn't opened up. It was the next day they opened up.
Gotcha.
But the one trail that we did go to was already open.
I gotcha, okay. And then you had to go to, let's see here, that trail, so that was on, make sure I got my paper right here. That was on the 25th, right? That's your timesheet, right?
Hold on, let me get my sears. Let me get my eyeballs out.
Sick days and paid time off vary from place to place. In
True,
some
but everybody kind of
businesses, they are
generally knows what
considered
that
separate,
is.
and in others, they are lumped together interchangeably.
It's very weird that
Most
he
places
had to
do not
explain
care
it
if you
to
were
them.
actually sick or not if you take a sick day,
That's
as long
true.
as you have that time allotted to you.
Very true.
In an investigation such as this,
As it should be.
some might see it as a sign of dishonesty.
No, it should.
Well,
That should be how it is. You shouldn't have to
Yeah, you see the problem
have an
with that
excuse
with
to
that?
not work if you have
That
hours that
should've-
you
should've
earned
been-
to take off.
I didn't even finish this week.
Right.
So I don't know if I agree with
Somebody
this.
grabbed it and made a copy of it because they knew you were out
Hey.
four-wheeling when you were supposed to be at work. That's why that's there.
Oh.
Yeah,
And because they were concerned that you were taking time off and doing things and claiming time for work.
yeah.
And that's why there's a copy of that. You probably did actually finish that timesheet, but that's a copy of the timesheet up until that point.
I think we do have the finished one.
And we do have the finished one.
And
So,
so,
yeah, so that's your handwriting.
Probably,
That's your
that's my
signature.
handwriting, yeah.
You claimed 12 hours that day
Yeah.
when you weren't there.
Well, I can tell you this. If you go out there and look right now, Steve's isn't done for this week.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just whipped it out and didn't even think about taking that day off. That wasn't taking that
You
day
what?
off on, trying to rip someone off. You know.
What did he
I
say?
just should have do it like I do it now, which is fill it out as I go. But that day here, someone may have taken and pulled the copy off it, and I know who it was, Steve Ritter.
Classic,
But
dude.
that was not done on purpose.
Jeff and Steve.
And I'll give them their 12 hours back, but
Not me, of
that
course.
was not done to steal anything from anybody.
Okay, but you see the problem that the issues that were raised, Jenny, are legitimate issues.
I can see it.
Because if they're coming to your house and you're sitting around, and I'm not saying it's true, I'm saying that's what they're reporting. If you're sitting around watching TV when you're on duty, they feel like you're stealing money from the village. If you're going out and riding four-wheelers on a day you're supposed to be at work, and then you claim time on it too, that's a problem, man.
Oh, I can see that being a problem. That wasn't done on purpose.
Okay.
I can
I'm
tell
sure
you
it was
that.
not. Crazy coincidence, I swear.
It's for Nathan's say I'm not saying that.
check here and get to the end here.
If I just say I didn't mean it, I'll be good, right?
And out of respect for you, Jimmy, I'm laying everything on the table. Like, I'm not holding anything back from you.
I already.
Here's the one that was turned in of yours. And I'm looking for meeting Jimmy.
You were past it, or one.
That right here.
Poor Jimmy's getting framed.
And Vermaiden was with you, and Vermaiden claimed 6 hours.
Why would he claim 6 hours when he's supposed to work on Tuesday? He works noon to 10.
No idea.
So that should, I don't even know why that was put there. That was it should have been noon to 10 instead of 4 to 10.
Apparently math isn't their strong
And
suit
it'd have been
either.
10 hours.
What time did you guys get back from that trip?
Oh, hell, I don't remember.
Was it dark?
No.
Maybe he tried to come in later, I don't know. But he put down numbers too on that day that he wasn't at work. The
Right.
Ritter had to come in because the two of you were both gone. And the dispatch traffic had Ritter on there, not you guys.
Yeah.
And obviously,
here, 4 to 11.
and you're being honest with me, that, you guys were out there on the 25th.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
that's the problem, Jimmy. And when I turn this stuff over to Mayor Wells and to Village Council, they're probably gonna have an issue.
Well, you know what? This was not done on purpose. I probably should do my timesheet every day that I get done, and I didn't. That right there, the 25th, was not done on purpose.
You're free to
and I
go.
can understand it looks terrible.
But Jimmy, you just told me earlier that you do it like that you make sure that you don't put that ending on there until you're actually done.
I just started doing that
Okay, I got you.
because of all this issue of them saying timesheet this, timesheet that, timesheet this.
Right.
And pay is very,
This is, Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever seen this before. This is a couple years of people thinking that you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. A couple years, since 2014. That's how long that is. That's a lot. That's what's gonna go over.
Not the red
to those
file,
guys,
bro.
man.
that's,
And obviously, there are issues there. Now, obviously, there's some issues, whether you did it on purpose or not, there are issues there that are very serious.
like,
I find it obnoxious that this is only being brought up because of, once again, a public blunder from the cop in question. I do really appreciate the thoroughness of this guy, though. I mean, this guy is really fucking laid it down. I mean, we all know how I feel about police around here, but this dude is laying it thick onto this dude. And I'd like to think it's because he's morally upset about it, but it's probably because he got caught and he's making the police look like shit here, realistically. But I really have enjoyed this guy absolutely having the receipts for everything.
what issues is very serious.
It's a
if I
rare
did
sight to
that,
behold.
If I left and I came back here and I claimed that I worked that day, I'd get charged with theft in office probably. And I would get fired. I get fired like pretty quickly here.
Right.
All right, so I don't know what they're gonna do there. I don't know their procedures. Frankly, I don't care.
Hansy's incompetence has the potential to cost him greatly. He is negligent and lazy, but so
way.
far, it doesn't sound like these are deliberate criminal acts. However, that doesn't matter in the long run, as his errors add up over time and impact not only the police department, but the village itself. At the very least, he needs to be fired so that they can get a chief who will handle their responsibilities correctly.
Such a silly little accident.
Because that's
Just like me,
between
you know what I
and
mean?
them. My job
So
is to find
relatable.
out what happened with everything.
Gary, I did not do the 25th of April, or was it this year?
No,
That's right.
17.
17, on purpose, Yeah, I was lackadaisical in doing the timesheets every day, but I know how she is, so
He just happened to steal that money from the crime scene, guys. I mean, it was clearly just an
Yeah,
accident.
Jimmy,
And-
whatever happens in this investigation, man, I hope you guys tighten it up. I really do. I mean, whether you're there, whether you decide to leave, or what happens,
Well,
I
I'm
hope-
sure she's going to fire me.
I hope to God you guys get shit straightened out, though.
And I will be the first one to look both of you in the eyes and say, yeah, we need to tighten some things up.
Oh, really?
I have no problem with that. Have no problem with getting guidance on how to do that, okay? But
I don't think you're going to be the one to do it, bud.
to say I blatantly ripped off this Buckeye Lake Police Department is bull. I put 34 years of my life out there.
Oh God.
I gave them people more than anything. I lost a marriage over this police department. Okay? I've lost girlfriends over this police department because I spent more time there than I would with them.
He's such a specimen.
You know, just because someone comes to my house and they see me in blue jeans and a t-shirt that says police and a Glock 27 on my side,
My wife left
doesn't
me
mean
because
that
I
I ain't
worked
working.
so hard from home.
Doesn't mean that I don't have something in the mix going on. You know, Mayor Foster, Mayor Carroll knew every time I would be working out of my house.
But Jimmy, your computer, like you said, the computer at your house has the same things the computer does at work. In fact, Oleg, you're not running at your house, I hope.
No.
You're running them at work. Why go home?
Because it's more peaceful for one thing. The phone's not ringing 300,000 times. The chimes on the door is not
God,
ringing.
it would really suck to have to be at my job to do my job.
The other side of the
I
office.
totally get it.
It's more peaceful, and you can get more stuff
Totally
done.
get it, man.
Steve Ritter don't come in and stand at your desk and do this for 45 minutes.
Oh, fucking Steve. Of
You
course.
know?
I can understand that.
And trying to get things
So
done.
true.
Andy wouldn't come in and do all this. And you're trying to get something done. It's like,
I don't want people to call me at my job and tell me to do it. Are you insane?
being pulled 17 different ways.
Yeah.
Like you're Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, it's impossible to do.
Almost
I
like
understand
I'm the
that.
chief
It's
of
impossible to
police
be in
and
your
have a
position
job
lot of
to
times.
do.
It's hard.
What do they think
get it.
I am, in
And
charge?
I can tell you exactly, and you can just look at
It's
me and tell me it's
preposterous.
none of my business. I don't care. That stuff coming out there is from Steve Ritter. Steve Ritter wants my job.
I'll tell you what, I'll be completely 100% honest with you because I don't bullshit.
But he's
I'm not
actually
bullshitting
blaming
now.
Steve. He's
That
saying
did not
Steve's
come
trying
from
to
Steve
take his
Some of it
job.
had to have.
Ritter. None of it did.
None of it come from Steve Ritter.
Did I hear that?
Nothing
He's
in that
thinking.
book
He
is
says
Steve
Steve is taking his job.
No.
And let me tell you, let me just say this. I'm gonna conclude. I'm gonna end the whole thing on this, Jimmy. Whatever you do, whatever you decide, I want you to understand and know that we respect you. We've known you for a long time. I hope things work out for you. I really do.
Give me a fucking
I'm sorry
break,
that I,
dude.
you got pulled into this thing because it's unpleasant.
Yep.
It's not pleasant for me to have to
It's
investigate you.
everybody else's
Okay? I
fault.
took no joy in this,
Poor
believe me.
Jimmy.
But I wish you luck, man. Whatever you do, whatever you
Poor
decide.
Jimmy's getting
I hope
really
you,
getting
succeed in
raked
it.
over the
If it's
coals
this,
here.
you stay here. I hope you succeed. If you decide to take off, I hope you find something good for you. If you get fired, I hope you find something good for you. All right, but I want you to understand. There's no animosity here. There's no hard feelings, no matter what. I hope you feel the same way.
There isn't. I understand what you guys had to go through. I understand what you guys are doing. But the mistakes that were made, and there was mistakes made, but none of them was done to
By me.
rip off anybody, discredit anybody, get any extra free money, or what, pad anything.
Even though it completely
or
looks like
anything
that 100%,
The auxiliary hours and
trust me, it's
doing,
wrong.
I should have overseen it, but when you delegate.
Now I know what it looks like. It looks like we're taking money under the table and not giving someone his proper hours and logging in people who don't even work there anymore in order to pocket more money. And I know it looks like I've been working off duty even though I was told not to, but like it was all a mistake. It's all just like it like total accident. I promise.
Something,
This is
I
all
probably
just
should've
a
just-
crazy fluke.
make sure it was right. Or I should just did it myself.
I just happened to walk into
But
that
when you got
house
so many things
and
going
fire
on,
my gun off duty by
you
accident.
delegate to this gentleman,
Absolutely.
It was crazy.
And you guys are good friends, I'm sure. But you believe in him.
I do.
You guys are good
And
friends.
I believed in Vermeer.
Eh.
My problem here, I should have.
Imagine your boss saying
probably
that to you. Fuck,
Just
dude.
made sure that it was done right.
I would
But
die
had
on the spot, I think.
Doubt in him that because he's done stuff like that before.
I guess just for future reference, Jimmy, I trust them, but I verify everything they do.
When you delegate something, it is always your obligation to go back and make sure that it was done correctly, because
True.
you aren't delegating the responsibility, just the grunt work to free yourself up so you can focus on other things for a time.
True.
Hansy knows that he isn't going to come out of this with his job and seems to accept that fact.
Well, and that's what I should have
You know,
done.
I mean, and that just keeps me.
This guy's
because
name
I've got
really
vicarious
Jimmy
liability and all
Hansy?
this stuff, you know, with him or with the other detective. You know, I got to make sure that I'm doing the things. They're doing.
I don't know why
things
it's
right,
taking me
so it
whole,
doesn't
this
come
whole
back on
video
me.
to get to that point,
You know,
but
ultimately, you're the head of the police department. You're the top fish over
that's
there.
that's
you know?
a name. I mean,
But
that
I'm
is
sure,
that is
Like,
certainly
you know
a
what I'm
name.
saying? You are.
Oh, I know.
You know, and so ultimately, who's it come down to?
I mean, he's already in trouble with the last
Exactly.
name.
As
You know, he kind of took an L in the lottery with that one.
Oh, I know.
Not much you can do about that.
And it's
But
going to come down when you guys give her a report. It's going to come down and she's going to let me go.
But you know what I'm giving her. I lay it all on the
We put everything
table.
on the
There's no
table.
surprises, all right? And that's all. That's the respect that I want to show you. Is I'm not pulling punches here. I'm not hiding anything. I'm showing you my entire hand.
And I've been-
I'm laying out for you so that you yourself, if there's a decision to be made, you understand these are the cards.
been the
that are being played,
longest-
okay?
Right, exactly.
And I'm giving you that respect to say, here's my whole hand.
I don't know. At
This
least
is
this
it.
is coherent.
And I've
I think
been
the one with the
150
celebrity just making up
1,000,000%
sentences was even
honest
worse.
with you gentlemen.
I appreciate
And,
it.
At least I
you
feel
know,
like I can
and I have
follow
nothing
along
to
with what's
hide.
happening here.
You know, just like this whatever date that
The
was.
cop being a
and
fucking
my hours
moron,
are
which is
down
not
there.
shocking. So it's pretty
I
easy to
didn't-
follow
I come in
along.
here with
to be
nothing to hide
fair.
because I didn't even realize that. And I should have done it day by day, like I am now. I didn't even realize that, to be truthful with you. At the end of the week, you got so much stuff to come and go to the second week.
I know, but you can't estimate, man. You can't go back to that kind of thing. You say you're estimating your hours, you know, with Vermaiden estimating the hours and you estimating the hours, and then the estimates for city or for the auxiliaries, and then you're giving that as an official document into village council who's making a public record. No, it's accurate.
Yeah, now I see where she come up with this letter of accuracy of reports. Now I see where she come up with this public records request or documents or something like that.
Yeah.
And I agree. I should have did a little bit more due diligence when Jeff was making out the reports. Yes, I should have.
Yeah.
But
Now, Jimmy, how long have you been at Buckeye Lake? Your
But
total
why
years of
didn't
service?
you, though?
33,
33
34.
years, a lot of time. Do you feel in any way that
I think
the
a
village
better
owes you
question
anything?
is why weren't you?
As
Almost
one.
like it was
all the time
in your
of service
favor
that
not
you've given
to.
the village, the village of Buckeye Lake. Do you feel that they owe you anything?
In this matter here, are we talking?
Well,
Or anything?
I think it's come to a point to where you kind of get into this complacent. This is how it's been done. This is what we do. You mentioned.
It's
that I
Steve
take a lot of
taking my
phone calls,
job
I do a
and
lot of
Jeff
work
pocketing the
outside
money,
of
I
your
swear.
actual hours. I do too. I do the Facebook page. I do a lot of other things. I don't necessarily feel like the city owes me anything, but there may be times where you said, well, okay, I worked 8 hours today, but I did 2 hours outside of work. Because you probably did, but you didn't actually log those hours in uniform at the desk or anything.
Right.
I mean, in instances like that, do you feel like it's a wash when things like that happen?
No.
Okay. You don't feel like the village owes you anything for all the service you've done, and well, okay, I worked this much. Yeah, they had, I gave them an hour over here. It's not a big deal. I'm basically
No.
getting it back.
This guy does a
You don't feel like
Facebook
that
page.
whatsoever. Okay.
I like to get
What a hero.
paid for what I work. Like I said, I didn't turn in some hours because I knew I'd work myself out of a job. And that's the way it's always been.
Not the police Facebook page. What does he do? Put like the 5 pebbles that were thrown at him during riots on there and say that it's a dangerous job?
I'll give you an example of the reason why. Right before
Riots in
Mary
quotes, by the way.
left in December, I asked if we could get a window tint meter for $48. No, you don't have the money. Seriously?
Wow, $48.
$48. So that's the way we've always.
Damn, bro.
been
All right. Well, you're free to be
that
corrupt
village
then.
from day one
No
I
problem.
started. They don't give us nothing. We buy our own paper.
This guy's just
We
telling
buy
them.
our own uniform. They give us a uniform allowance.
This
But
guy
we
is
buy our own
literally
boots and
giving
we
them
buy
motive
our own
right
guns
now.
and our belts and stuff that whatever the uniform allowance.
He's giving them direct
That
motive
reminds
as to
me of
why he
something,
would
don't
do
you?
this
I gotta
stuff.
ask you before you take off here. You threw away a bunch of property the other day. Yeah.
No, it was boxes and stuff like that.
Okay. And one of them was one of our uniform shirts.
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
see that.
yeah.
Why'd you throw away our shirt?
It had been in the back of the property room forever.
So some of the stuff you threw away, was that property or just
Why'd
boxes?
you throw
Because
away
we
our
found some,
dude? What the hell?
some dried
I
up
thought you were
meat and all
cool.
that stuff too out there. You understand, you gotta get court orders to throw that stuff out, right?
Right, that was just dirt.
Okay.
That was just the dirt. That,
I just wanna make sure that you
No.
know, because I know that
Yeah.
procedurally, you guys do a lot of stuff procedurally that makes no sense to us.
It makes no procedural sense to the detective because he is obviously held to higher standards where he works. There are stricter protocols in fast food restaurants than there are in Hansie's department.
But I wanna make sure that because that will get you in trouble. That'll get you in trouble, like, really fast.
no, that was just dirt.
Okay, so
We'd
you don't
already
throw away
cut-
anything from
No.
that it was not meant to be in there, or
No.
that they just didn't have you don't have instruction order for anything.
For
right?
example, they have an
There is
actual clock
there's a
to,
bunch of
to
stuff
clock
already
out
boxed up
on
that says,
for your work hours.
however it says,
To be destroyed. Probably.
yeah,
Second of all,
destroyed.
no fast
well,
food
we-
restaurant's
did you
gonna
get
let
rid
you
of that stuff?
estimate
No.
your time
Okay.
worked.
No.
How do you get rid of stuff?
Mark Gardner.
Okay,
And that's what we were waiting for, was Mark Gardner.
perfect. Okay.
But we had 3 totes and we had all this stuff. The only thing we threw away was empty boxes, because we would take all this stuff that was in boxes. We had 3 big totes and we'd write on a yellow piece of paper what it was,
Gotcha.
put it all in there, and then after that tote was full, we put tote number 1, put the legal people in it, and put the lid on it.
Okay.
We did, I think, 2 or 3 of them. The only thing we threw away was empty boxes, the Pataskala shirts, and I think it was
Evidence.
was it a
I
planter?
mean,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, of just dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we'd already cut all the stuff off of that and weighed it,
Gotcha.
and it is actually still in there.
Right. I just don't want to see you get more
Years,
trouble.
and that's been from, oh my
he's so good at
God.
his job.
Right. Like I said, Jimmy, I just don't want to see you get more trouble
Yeah.
because of something like that, because that was just a big red flag.
Oh,
It has nothing to do with. Doesn't really
Yeah,
have
he
too much
does
to do
his
with what
job
we're talking
so
about.
hard.
Right. No,
When I saw
no.
that, I was like, oh, I don't want you to.
No, I
I
know
got
better
to
than
for a
that.
second. Excuse me for just 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
What
we'll
the
go back to the.
why did
the
he
age real
leave
quick.
so quickly? Did he have to
Actually,
piss?
Just curiosity's sake.
That was
It
so fast. Why did he?
For making women,
Excuse me. What we're talking about?
Right. No,
When I saw
no.
that, I was like, oh, I don't want you to.
No, I know
got to
better
step out
than
for a
that.
second. Excuse me for just 1 second.
let me go back to the age
Dude,
real quick.
dude bolted.
As far as
Oh my
curiosity's
God,
sake.
bro, that
It
snuck up on him. He was like,
for
"Hold on, I
making
gotta
women
poop."
first, then you.
I gotta
then
shit.
later. Now, did you guys have any type of police identifiers or anything as the 2 people going in first?
For McNeil Police.
So he just did a verbal.
Oh no,
warning.
I got a poopy.
You guys didn't have any uniform, any throwovers or anything, any type of identifier that said that you were police in case a resident
like you've got
encountered
here?
you. Whether it's a badge or, we have the vest that
Yeah.
just say police.
For Maitland, I didn't.
You did not, okay.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you didn't have Ritter go in first? Because he was in uniform, correct? He was working the red that night?
He had the rifle,
Okay,
and he had a flashlight,
okay.
which
It's
is why.
just a tactics thing. I mean,
Yeah.
if, it has been a defense used in court cases throughout the country if an ununiformed officer with no police identifiers enters first and gets shot and killed, that person has made that defense that I thought it was an intruder.
Right.
So, just a tactics type thing, just
Yeah.
moving forward. And you had a uniformed officer with you, and, just trying to clarify, well, why not just have him go first? Because at least you have your first line of, yeah, he's an officer, he's in uniform, you should know it when you see him. So, I was just trying to clarify.
And you make a good point there.
Why is he like
I mean, it was just
smacking
went
this
down so damn
Gatorade bottle on the
fast that it
fucking
was-
table, man?
Yeah,
Stop.
it seems like it, and I don't fault you, and I don't, Sergeant Smith doesn't either. I mean, if in the heat of the moment you feel you had a duty to respond, and you guys were that close, and you
Oh,
were able
brother.
to, great. Now, did you necessarily go about it the right way? Maybe, maybe not.
No.
Maybe there's a better way. Maybe
Literally
you just
no.
held the trailer, called the county, whatever.
They never do.
For your safety, the last thing we want in this county is another officer killed.
Oh,
We do not
I
want
know
that.
you're right.
I mean, you guys didn't have vests, you didn't have identifiers, you weren't fully, completely equipped. Because what if you did end up in a shootout and Ritter's gun jams? He doesn't have his sidearm on him. Same with any of you. It's just, it's bad tactics. There's other ways to go about it, but there's no right way. I mean, no one says this is exactly how you have to do it.
No
at the
written
same
rule.
time. There's not. And like I said, we don't fault you for that. Exigent circumstances being what they are, you're going off what you know, seems like a pretty legit thing. I mean, hey, I gotta go in there and save some lives. You know, that's what we're built to do. It's just how we are. So I get that. I understand that. You know, so.
Yeah, it's how they are.
But if anything,
Yep.
learning lesson.
Built to save lives. That's what they do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a pound of coffee and water.
Yeah, I can.
Wait, this dude literally he actually bolted out of the room because he had to piss. Wait, we heard that, right? He actually left because he had to pee so bad.
Having a pound of coffee.
Lesson, if anything, so.
My lord.
You alright?
Yeah. Having a pound of coffee and water.
Yeah, I can. You know, and we're talking about vests. We've asked for vests for so long.
They were ill prepared to face an armed home invader, but given the known facts at the time, it might have been overlooked if Hansy hadn't been involved while he wasn't supposed to be working.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those
Came
things.
back in the
There's
room, was
some
like, my lord.
You know, if you get one donated, you get one donated. If you get a hand-me-down, you get a hand-me-down. If you don't get one, well, you want to go into work and, you know, without one, may or may not.
That's
so,
funny.
You know, I understand that. It's definitely an issue throughout the state, throughout the country. It's definitely an issue.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yep.
I got a thing in here. I just want to read this. I spoke with Randy from the street department today. Randy said Terry Small got in trouble. That Terry was caught by Jimmy carrying a battery, and Terry told Randy told Terry to tell him that Randy knew. Jimmy then confronted Randy, and Randy said he didn't know anything about it, but Jimmy did nothing about it. You remember that?
Oh, I caught Terry was walking across the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the battery, and he said Randy said he could have it.
Okay.
And it was a battery, an old battery went to the siren. And then when I asked Randy, Randy said that no, he did not tell Small to have it.
Okay.
Okay?
It's
Randy
so
didn't
crazy
want
how
any
everybody around
confrontation
him is
between just didn't want to Terry Small not to
so
come back.
fucked up.
And
This
so
is
did Mark Dimmick
wild.
was
I can't
underneath-
believe it.
He was underneath Mark Dimmick at that time.
Okay.
Jimmy's
that's
really
why
got
that
it
was
tough
done.
out
He didn't
here.
want
All of
any
his fellow
conflict,
police
just tell
officers
Terry
are
he's
so
not allowed back
corrupt,
to
and
the
it's not
street
him.
department.
Right. But if you see this book, Jenny, like I said, this is a book basically about Jimmy.
That's fine.
All right. I mean, Jimmy called, asked me to come in at 11, said he had
Really?
a funeral me to go to, took a cruise to the funeral, 3:20 call, said he was going home for the day. At 3:20, so you went
This is
home for the
about
day.
me?
It's literally day by day for years of you going home, or you not coming in, or you saying you were somewhere that they said that you weren't at. And I'm just saying this is what this guy's saying over and over and over and over again.
That is Andy Davis.
That's right, it's Andy Davis. But
Oh,
remember,
I
this
can't
is
wait for Andy to
Davis,
be after his
but
job
there's
as
also
well.
former employees that I've talked to saying the same things.
Don't
It's
tell me
also
Andy's
current
corrupt
employees
as well.
saying, you know, they're saying the same things. Just honestly, Jimmy, do you think that you're doing a great job over there from, let's say 2015 on? Do you think that you're doing the job that you should be doing?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why do you think so?
You're
Because I
fucking
get things
cheesing.
done, and just because that I'm not in uniform every day of the week, doesn't mean that I'm not doing something for that police department. I look for grants for cars.
What
I
are
look
you
for
What are
grants
you
for
getting
equipment.
done though?
I mean, if you look for grants for generators for the police department, in case the electric goes out. When the electric goes out, we're done. Our department's done. Next door has a generator.
Do you guys
Okay.
tie into it?
They wouldn't tie a cent to it. So I look for grants and stuff like that. Today,
Who gives a
I
shit?
I've been reading the new DUI laws and getting
Oh.
up on the new
Today, I've been reading up on how to do my
misdemeanors
job.
on DUSs and stuff like that. Getting ready to print that stuff out.
I'm a hero.
And you know what? Didn't really want to go here with
Today, I did the bare minimum as a police officer. You guys should be clapping right now.
Quite a few officers too say they went to your house because you were threatening suicide.
What?
3 officers told us that.
Who?
The 3 that were there
Wait, what?
told us they went to your house because you were threatening suicide.
What?
3 officers told us that.
What?
Who?
The 3 that were there.
3?
They said that you wanted to kill yourself because of the insurance checks. You recall it? You recall that? And the reason I'm telling you this, Jimmy,
What?
I don't even care the answer.
What is happening?
This job will stress you the hell out.
We just took like a
This job will
90-degree
get to you.
left.
This job will take you, they'll just take you to the point where you're like snapped.
Oh.
Jimmy, I'm just telling you
Oh,
because
that.
again, it's out of respect for you. That if the job's getting you this bad,
When I said I wanted to die,
maybe you
you
gotta think
know.
about it for a while and say, is this what I want to do?
No. You know what? The insurance check, and it wasn't an insurance, it was about my insurance on my house that flooded my
Okay.
washroom. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm just freaking sick and tired of life.
Yeah.
And everybody at that point overreacted.
Oh,
You do remember
of
that,
course.
Yeah, but I didn't actually say,
joke.
I'm going to kill myself and, you know.
Right.
No, I said, I am fucking, my words were, I'm fucking sick and tired of life because every time I turn around, I get fucked.
Well, apparently you scared enough people that they were
It
very
scared
concerned.
Jeff from Maton, is what it scared.
It did.
Oh,
It scared the shit
not
out of
Jeff, dude.
Yeah. I
Jeff
know it did.
again.
him. So,
And he knows.
I bet he knows it would
there's
take your
three
job.
Well, let me use this hand. 3 reasons that I would never hurt myself. First of all, is my son. I love that boy more than anything. Then there's 2 little girls I never, that pisses me off.
Hansy becomes very emotional about the accusation of him being suicidal. There is a high rate of suicide among police officers, and it is something
True.
that absolutely must be taken seriously when suspected.
Yes.
On the other hand, people often make comments during times of stress and frustration that can be misinterpreted, even when that person has no intention whatsoever to harm himself.
Fair.
That pisses me off.
well, it's not meant to piss you off, Jimmy. It's meant to show you.
Fair,
that
but also
life
when the
is valuable,
statistics
man.
weigh in the
you spend
favor that
most
it
of
might
your life
happen, I
just
would
being
also
pissed
be
off at the
concerned.
world or doing something that's affecting your health. Maybe you got to look at it and just say, "Man, I don't want to do all this crap." You know what I mean? Maybe at some point you just say, "I got to make my life easier." And I'm not saying to quit. I'm saying find a way to make your life easier.
You know, it's
You know what I'm
funny.
saying?
These guys want to write all this stuff down. Maybe I should have been keeping a book on Andy Davis. Maybe I should have been keeping a job.
We're just gonna
Well,
gloss
you
over the
should've
whole
been
like
doing-
threatening
what you should've been
suicide
doing
thing. No,
is being the chief of
we're gonna
police
go back
and
to
saying,
Andy Davis
you know
like
what?
being.
You're not doing your job right. You know, here's your write-up for this. Here's your but to do that, you've got to be a supervisor. To do that, you've got to be an asshole sometimes, and to do that, you've got to be on top of shit.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, I love you to death, man. I respect you,
Kinda
but
weird.
you didn't do that.
No.
I think we can all agree on that, right? You didn't do that, so you know that's an issue.
Despite him saying that he thinks he's doing a pretty good job, by the way, he just admitted that he said he wasn't doing a good job of being a supervisor, and then immediately earlier said he thought he was doing a pretty good job. Just want to throw it out there. Just some superb thinking over here. Woo! Cream of the crop, can I just say? Yeah.
That's something that, regardless of what you do from here on out, you got to look at this time and say, yeah, you're right. I could have done things a lot differently. I could have done things a lot better, you know. But at the end of the day,
I'll be the first one to tell you I could have done things different. Could have done things a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
You're damn right. But you know, when you're that
Okay,
close to
you're
the
right.
apartment, you know, and I can tell you, let me tell you this, where this stands from. And you can believe me or you can't believe me. The day Ron Small retired, Ron Small's Andy's father-in-law. Okay?
oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Andy married Ron's daughter, Rhonda. All right? When Ron was retiring, Ron wanted to retire, and then he wanted to come back 3 days a week, and then I worked the rest of the week. I worked with him them 3 days, but I finished it out. He wanted to be the chief of police. He wanted to keep his sick time, and he wanted to keep his vacations 5 weeks a year. Mayor Baker said, no. I don't know what happened between them, but one day I come in the office and Ron said, if I would retire today, who would you put in your place? I said, I'd probably put in Andy. He said, good, because if you had said for Maiden, I wasn't
Bless
retired.
you.
I'm retiring as of Friday. All right?
So you promoted Andy to sergeant because of that?
Uh-oh.
No.
Okay.
He said, Andy's your new sergeant. I've already worked it out with Mayor Baker. You're going to start him out at this amount of money. Okay.
Why are we
Didn't know
talking
I
about
wouldn't put
Andy
him on
now?
a sergeant or anything else. I thought maybe he'd just come on full time as a patrolman, but okay. Ron already worked everything out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 2013. 2014, I reached the point where I could retire with Ohio Police and Fire. Okay?
And you
I asked the mayor,
didn't? Because?
which is the new mayor, Clay Carroll.
Oh no.
I'm to the point where I can retire. It's not going to do me a lot of good to work. Can I retire and can I come back? I said, this is what I'll do. I'll give you my sick time and I'll give you my vacation and I'll start at 0. I said, then you won't have to find someone. You already know I can do the job.
What?
He said, let me kick it around. 2 days later, he called me and said, yes, you can. So, all right, went to the retirement board and I retired. Knowing Ron was going to be madder than hell. Ron's a very vindictive man. Ron's a very greedy man. And nothing in this world matters anything other than money.
Oh no, now it's Ron's fault.
Okay? So,
Nice going,
I said,
Ron.
let me be the one to tell him. I think I can tell him in an easy way that will not piss him off. Boy, was I wrong. He called me every name in the book in the Dollar General parking lot. He said this was his favorite words, was bullfuck.
I'm getting a little worried about this one. Bullfuck is quite the creative word, and I'm worried to find out where the rest of it goes.
And then 2 weeks later, he calls the Mayor Carroll, and I do nothing. And I've never done anything. Threw me under the bus.
This is another illustration of small-town politics.
Threw me under
There
the
are
bus.
so many connections between people, it is difficult to keep the stories and motives straight.
He
People
said,
get
he said
vindictive
that I was
and will gang
useless,
up
and
to
like,
ruin
yeah, he
an
was right,
individual.
but like, what the hell,
This
man?
makes it all the more difficult to accurately determine when someone is at fault and to what extent.
So, this little book that we have here is from his son-in-law because Andy is the same damn way. There ain't nothing in this world that means more to Andy Davis than money.
Oh my God.
You know? So, this is
So
driven
Ron
from that. Guys,
hates him for
you can say,
retiring.
oh, this is a bunch
Said he
of
never did
horseshit.
anything, so he got his stepson
He's full of shit.
cook
You
the
know, that has
books
to go back to Buckeye
that
Lake.
Jeff made that he approved.
That's the 110% truth, Gary. And I would take a polygraph exam 1,400 times over,
That
and it would come out the same.
And it would still
that I'm
be
telling you
inadmissible.
the truth. I've told you the truth all day today.
And I appreciate that, Jimmy.
I have nothing to hide. You know, yeah, you bring things up, should have been tightened up. You're right. I appreciate that. I hope you tell Mayor Wells that I don't have any training as being a big supervisor because every time we ask to go to training, we don't get it. It gets denied. They denied $48 freaking window tent. You think they're going to give me $320 to go to?
No, I understand that. We've got a deputy chief that'll do the same thing, you know.
You
Try
know.
to get things and little tiny things, and he likes to poo-poo on everything like that. But we get it to an extent, believe me.
Why is this serious ass man saying poo poo?
He likes to poo-poo on everything like that. We get it to an extent, believe me.
Yeah, he likes to poo poo on
But,
everything.
You know,
I
just
guess
like the day that he says I was working, I put down I was working, but I was four-wheeling. I didn't do that on
Why
purpose.
is this man saying poo poo?
That is 100,000%
This is a
typo,
police interrogation.
you know?
Why is this man making up percentages and this man saying poo poo?
I mean,
What is happening?
I'm not angry at you guys.
Well, I hope not.
Yeah.
I certainly hope not. I
Why
take
would
that
I be
personally.
angry at you guys? It's nothing.
Right.
You guys got dragged in the middle and only was supposed to have been an accidental shooting.
Right.
And then I don't know how all this came about.
I gotta go confirm something real quick with these guys and outside, make sure that we're good to go. Yeah, I think that's why I'm gonna check one, because I got one more thing.
All right.
Jimmy, we're gonna let you go in a minute, man. Hold on a second.
Oh. Oh.
Deputy Sheriff's here to take me to jail, isn't he?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I sure hope not. I wasn't made aware if that's the case, so.
I have
right
done
now,
nothing to go to jail
no.
for.
No, and like we said, this is all under garrity, so this is a completely different circumstance, you know.
I appreciate that you guys show me some
Yeah,
of
except
these
they're
things.
gonna
I
send
really
it to
do.
your superiors.
Well, like Gary said, we just want to be upfront and honest, because we're not trying to be shady, we're not trying to be conniving, we're not trying
And
to
I
be
don't think you guys have been.
We're just trying to put everything out there and just be open, and we're trying to be the unbiased party that, I mean, we're on the west side of the county, we're the stepchild as it is. You know, so it's a little bit easier for them to ask somebody who is still within the county, just a different agency.
That's
not
okay.
ours, so.
That's the same things I had on here. You're good, man. No, there's no tricks, Jimmy. We don't have a deputy waiting for you.
My bad. I seen it. I was like, man, am I going to jail?
No. You're not going to jail. All right. This is internal investigation. Nothing that we talk about can be used.
And you know, Gary, I
foul play,
appreciate
officer.
you.
We've done
more
our
than
own
you
investigation.
think, because you've showed me a few things that
We've seen no foul play, even though we've
I
found
should
mounds of
tighten up,
evidence
and
of
I
it.
need to tighten up.
Yeah.
And you showed me that I put a little bit more faith in people that maybe I shouldn't have. Just because they're friends and we go out and eat dinner and everything,
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're going to do exactly what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely not. You can't. You got to separate business
Yeah.
from friendship. It just has to
And,
happen.
you know, that's hard because when you all work together,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
you know.
We all work
And-
together. We're all very tight, but at the same time, I get my butt kicked in sometimes too when I do something stupid,
And I
which it
just,
should.
I don't want to lose my job. I have 34 years in. I have a lot left in me to go.
Nobody cares.
I do know there needs to be things to be tightened up, and if I get the chance, they'll be tighter than I'll. No,
I've worked a length. I've worked a good length, and I could work a
You know,
lengthier.
I've been 100%
So I should
honest
keep
with
that
you guys
job because
I
I
came
worked
in
it a
here-
length and
Like Jeff
definitely
not wanting to take
properly.
the CVSA. That was bullheadedness. That wasn't because I don't believe in them. My attorney says he doesn't believe in them either.
Sure.
It's unproven science.
It's okay.
Wait, what is?
I don't believe in it. I came in here, like Jeff not wanting to take the CVSA. That was bullheadedness. That wasn't because I don't believe in them. My attorney says
I don't
he
know what
doesn't
that is.
believe in
Hold
them
on.
either.
Sure.
It's unproven science.
It's
I
okay.
don't know.
There are things down there that are really good aspects, I think, too. There's
Yeah.
a lot of the pre-interview stuff that are really, really
Now,
good.
did I take the CVSA?
I'm not going to give you one.
Hansy is saying he'll do
Computer voice stress analyses tests, a collective pseudoscientific technology that aims to infer deception from stress measured in the voice. That's what Google is telling me. It sounds like a lie detector.
better if given the chance, but his
Never heard of
words
it.
are
Not a thing.
meaningless. Whatever her reasoning, the mayor now has plenty of legitimate cause to terminate him, and he knows this. At best, the only option he has is to take a low-paying job somewhere until he qualifies for retirement.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you one because I believe you.
I mean,
I
thank
do.
you.
I believe what you're
Thank you.
saying. I'm not doubting. I'm not. So I don't have to give you one.
You know, I didn't come out here and stay out there and, oh,
Sure.
God, I'm nervous.
Based off of the way this guy
Because,
speaks, he would
Gary,
fail
I
at
have
timing.
nothing
He would
to
fail
hide.
with
Yeah.
flying
Not a
colors.
thing to hide from you.
And again, Jimmy, like I said, man, it's a respect thing for me. I respect the time you put in, the job you've done, everything else like that. So, I just wanted to give you all the information so you're aware of what we've got going on. And I was meticulous. That's why it's taken a long time to get to you, because I wanted to talk to everybody, because I didn't want you to come in here and me only have half the knowledge. Okay, I wanted to make sure
I
I give you the
understand
fairest
that.
shake possible. So
That's the way you have to do it.
I hope we can leave as friends here, and no matter what happens,
We're going to leave as friends.
understand that I want to do as fair as possible. Okay.
I mean, you did what you was asked to do,
Right.
and you can't do a half-assed job.
No, I can't, because then I'll get my ass kicked too. Okay.
But you did enlighten me on things that needs to be tightened up.
Yeah.
You enlightened me on, you're right about that identifier.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when something goes down that fast, you don't think of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I totally
I was
agree.
thinking someone was dying.
But Jimmy, like I said, no tricks pulled there, man. None at all. So I think we're done. You ready to go? Then you're free to go.
Am I allowed to have a copy of this when everything's done?
Yeah, you get a copy of everything. Yeah, you
Book
get a copy.
too?
I don't know about the book. You'll get a copy of at least your interview. I'll give everything to the mayor,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to share exactly because we typically do in-house stuff.
In-house ours, yeah.
So I don't know if there's a public records request that has to be made for Buckeye Lake. I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
Because it's kind of funny. I treated Andy Davis, and Andy would sit for hours
Oh my
and
god.
talk about business, or he would meet his real estate people. Okay.
You shouldn't have let that shit happen.
He would do his
Shouldn't have
job.
You're
let
exactly.
You know,
You're
and that's-
exactly right.
That's where it backs up to being a supervisor and being the head of the department. You ultimately be responsible, so you got to cut that.
Oh,
The
you were
bad
talking
thing
not
is,
to his job. Got it.
I done exactly what past chief has done, and the reason is the straw that broke the camel's back was this. Got to sit to a
I'm
28.
lazy.
Okay? Ron's at the office. Ron never shows up. Ron's
Classic
on the
Ron.
phone getting a load for his semi from Texas back to Ohio. I about to get my ass kicked. If it wasn't for Tommy Lucas coming in,
The fuck is
I
that?
tased the guy. No effect. No effect. We were going toe to toe. And I tried to tase him again. My taser broke. It wasn't for Tommy Lucas coming in and laying down on the guy. The guy was on a set of steps. I knocked him backwards on a set of steps. And Tommy come around the corner and just laid down on the guy. And just laid there. Guy knocked the breath out of him. We flipped him over and cuffed him. Ron never left that office.
What are we
because
talking
he was
about?
getting him a load.
Not a way to do business.
So I went to the mayor and said, this is it. You know what? I followed in that man's footsteps, and that sucks.
I agree. Unfortunately.
Yep. And I see that you can't be friends with Jay here and have Jay do your delegation work and not check him.
Right.
What is he talking
everything's
about?
got to be checked and rechecked, and sometimes checked 3 times.
But I probably will not get the chance to do that, because I guarantee you she's going to let me go.
I don't know.
I hope not.
That's on her.
Yeah, that's
We don't
on
have
her.
anything to do
Yep.
with it.
I hope
we
not.
are the gatherer of the information, Jimmy. That's it, man.
Oh, I know.
I can't even suggest to her anything. I can't suggest to you anything. All I can say is we know that there were some deficiencies that need to be tightened up, no matter what.
She told Jeff from Mayton that you guys recommended immediate termination for him.
We didn't recommend anything
We
for
didn't
them.
do any recommendations.
We said, for here, she asked us what we would have done here for that stuff. And I said that would have been insubordination, and that's termination here. If you're insubordinate here, you're terminated, especially during a internal investigation.
As you should be, by
You
the
just
way.
can't do
It
it.
says that right in the garrity.
Right, even, there were garrity rights to your red. Same thing, I mean, you cannot do that.
Things are wrapping up. The detectives are making it clear at this point that there aren't any criminal charges, and that their job is really only to make a report. This makes Hansy a little
It's
overconfident.
fine. That's what an internal
Just because
affairs
this
does.
isn't a criminal investigation doesn't mean he will be able to avoid one altogether.
True.
So, anything
These
that
two look
she
into
does,
negligent
that's
behavior.
completely on her.
They are not the ones
Right.
that bring up
Whatever
the
her powers
charges.
are, that's between her,
See what
village
happens.
council,
Your solicitor
guys,
and all that.
has
That's all them.
absolutely zero to do with me. And anytime she's asked me a question on what should I do about this, I've told her contact the solicitor.
Right.
Because that's the only advice I can really give her. Contact the solicitor. Do it that way, and that's, then you're covered.
Yeah, we
I'm
don't
not
dabble
here-
in that game.
Yeah, no,
That's for the
I-
attorneys.
Yeah,
That's why there's
exactly.
big books.
Now, that's a game that, if they want to play that game, that's for them to play, not for us. We're the impartial gatherers of the information, and that's it. Now, I'm doing
It's
a
like a
report,
fucking
I'll do a
D&D
statement up,
campaign.
and that'll be the information that I was told.
Gatherers of the
And that's
information.
it. It's not an opinion, it's not,
Right.
my opinion to you, is I try to give you some advice. I mean, it's not really my opinion. I guess it is, but that's to you. From a police officer to a police officer, a supervisor to a supervisor. That things could definitely be tightened up.
And I see that now. I see that 100%.
Right.
I see that. And I agree with you. And I'll probably start tightening them up tomorrow.
Just do what you gotta do. Jump through the hoops. and
Now that
see
I've
where you
been
fall.
caught.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted you to leave here feeling like you had all the information. And you do. You have all the information.
I have everything.
All right.
The questioning is over, and Hansy is allowed to leave. It ended on a positive note, and he most likely thinks that this is the last he will ever hear about these accusations.
Uh-huh.
On May 8th, 2018,
Oh.
Hansy was removed from office by the village council. Mayor Peggy A. Wells filed 22 administrative counts against Hansy following an internal affairs investigation conducted by the Pataskala Division of Police.
Oh, jeez.
And in the course of their investigation, it was discovered that Hansy abused his access to the law enforcement automated database system, which is a 5th-degree felony.
No way.
If convicted, Hansy could be sentenced to a prison term of 6 to 12 months and be fined up to $2,500.
I mean, whatever. It's like a 5th-degree felony. That's like That's fairly low on degrees of felonies, but still. I guarantee you it's not going to happen, though. If that's the maximum that'll happen, it won't happen. Because he's a police officer, so he'll just get fucking, you know, they'll just be like, whatever. Ain't no way.